was leaking was the fact the keel was coming adrift.
A learner driver has been arrested on suspicion of carjacking his instructor in the middle of a lesson in Birmingham. The 22-year-old was picked up by police at his home in Erdington after an incident in Church Lane in Handsworth on Friday. The 56-year-old instructor was injured and his car was later found abandoned. The most senior judge in the family courts has rejected an appeal by a couple of Roma origin who tried to stop two of their sons being adopted by a gay couple in Kent. The parents argued that the children would suffer psychological harm. A 10-year-old schoolboy has saved the life of a pensioner from King Swinford by being able to say what was wrong with her. Adam Holliday from Glyn Primary School heard the cry for help from Brenda Armstrong, one in his school playing field. He rushed over and realised she was having a stroke because he'd been taught the signs by his grandmother, who works for the Dudley Stroke Association.
Got to act fast. I tried to ask her to smile, and she couldn't smile, to try and wave, but she couldn't wave either. And then speech, I asked her to try and say hello, and she couldn't. I was really scared. Don't see that every day when you're 10.
Birmingham Pride starts today. The annual event celebrates the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender community and mainly centres around Hurst Street. It also includes a huge parade through the city centre. Lawrence Barton is chairman of the organisers.
Looking at the weather, yes, the weather doesn't look too brilliant, but we've got huge structures this year, so we can comfortably house around 15 to 20,000 people. So if it rains, it really doesn't matter. Get yourself down here and have some fun.
The weather, showers or longer spells of rain today, some of which will be heavy and thundery. The top temperature this afternoon, 15 Celsius, 59 Fahrenheit. Showers will die out this evening and the temperatures will go no lower than 8 Celsius, 46 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. But there's lots in the show today, there genuinely is. Normally I say that and it's complete nonsense. There is a lot in the show, so much I'm not sure where to start. So I tell you what, I'm going to kind of just throw out some of the things that are coming up later on in the show, and if you want to call in and talk about those now, then you can. You can kind of dictate the shape of the show this morning if you want. We're talking about voting. Did you vote? Why didn't you vote is kind of the more interesting question. Turnouts, I think, generally were up a little bit, whatever that means, but still lots of people didn't vote. Why didn't you vote? I know how we get younger people to vote. I've come up with a brilliant plan. I'll tell you that later on. Genuinely, it's a great plan, and you won't be able to disagree with it. It involves 14-year-olds. Why didn't you vote? 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call about that. Ed Miliband is in a lot of the papers for the wrong reasons. Even members of his own team, now hang on, we don't call it a team, do we? His own party have come out saying, we're not sure Ed's the right guy. Of course Ed's not the right guy. I'll tell you why. He doesn't look like a Prime Minister. David Cameron looks like a Prime Minister. Tony Blair looked like a Prime Minister. John Major, you get the point. Ed Miliband looks like a plum. And he's got that nasally voice. And I hate to, be so, what's the word? Oh, there's a word, isn't there? Anyway, I hate to be that word I can't think of, but it's true. We vote on the looks. We vote on the sound. He looks like a plum, not a Prime Minister. We'll also be talking about Rory McIlroy and marriages and did he do a brave thing pulling out and all of those kind of things. But first off, adoption. There is a big story. A Roma couple have had their sons taken off them and then given to a gay couple to adopt. So much to talk about there. Should children stay within their own ethnicity? Should gays adopt? 03453 009956.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453
9956.
BBC WM 95.6.
And this is what I'm saying. There is just so much in the show today. And normally we'd kind of have it set out in a flowing, well thought out structure. But let's be honest. This morning, producer Joe and I were looking at boats online. We were looking at boats and moaning about how none of our children go to bed when they are supposed to go to bed, and their nighttime routines are awful. I tell you why we're looking at boats. I fancy buying a boat. Everything in the news to one side. Yes, that's cast a slight shadow over it, but I fancy buying a boat. And I've seen some boats like $3-4 grand. So we were looking at those, and then we were also arguing because producer Joe has one son. I have two sons. Mine are 4 and 2. Hers is just turned 6. Ouch. And they don't go to sleep on their own. You have to stay with them until they fall asleep. The nighttime routine for my two boys is awful. Awful. There's not a lot I can do about it. I'm not the one that puts them to bed most of the time. So that's why we're kind of distracted. So the whole show is up to you this morning. I've put the things out. Ed Miliband, why didn't you vote? If you want to tell us how to get our kids to go to sleep at night as well, you're more than welcome to 03453 009956. And we will be talking in this hour about this Roma couple who've had 2 of their sons taken off them by the courts. The courts have said, you are not fit parents. One of the reasons they're not fit parents, apparently, is they smoke in the same room as the kids. I don't know. You're not fit parents. We're taking your children, Roma couple, and we're going to give them to another couple. Roma couple, well, that's disappointing. But OK, if it's for the best. I won't do the accent. I don't know what the accent is. That's why I haven't got a clue what the accent is. But then those children have been are being adopted by a gay couple. And suddenly the Roma couple, who are from Slovakia and Roman Catholics, have gone, whoa, no way. You can't give our 2 boys to gays. No, that doesn't work. We don't recognise that. That's not going to happen. So lots of things to talk about in that subject, in that one story, OK? When children are adopted, should they always go to a family with the same or similar ethnic background as theirs? In an ideal world, they would. I think. Now I've said it, I'm not convinced by it. But there are more kids that need adopting than there are families. So I guess we can't pick and choose, necessarily. And is there any harm in a gay couple, 2 gay men, adopting these children? Is there any harm in it at all? Love to get your thoughts on this one this morning, please. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. You can email me, ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. You can send texts. I'll be honest, texts and emails are my least favourite way of communicating with you, of having contact with you. You can do it, but I prefer it if you come on the phone. Because if you just send me a statement on a text, 81333, starting your text WM, by the way, if you just send me that, I read out your point and we don't go any further. There's no discourse. You can't try and persuade me I'm wrong, and I can't try and persuade you're wrong, or we can't pat each other on the back for both being right. There's no development. So, yeah, text, email, it's great, groovy, love it, thanks. But groovy, man. But phone is the thing. 03453 009956. John's in Redditch. Morning, John.
Good morning, Ian.
John, what would you like to say?
Well, I spoke to most presenters on WM over the years. This is the first time with you I was coerced by your producer to make a phone call rather than send an email.
Yeah, and phone calls are so much better.
Remark, very light-hearted, not political.
Oh.
But you made a comment earlier on about Miliband not having that prime ministerial look and eating a bacon butty. You said it when you were speaking to the girl who's just standing in for Molly.
Michelle, yeah.
Michelle. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure Ed Miliband is of Jewish origin, and he wouldn't be eating a bacon butty anyway. That's pork. Jews wouldn't eat pork.
Well, you're throwing lots of things into the mix here that I hadn't even given any consideration to.
As I said, it was a light-hearted remark.
No, well, I didn't know. Is Ed Miliband Jewish?
I believe so. Believes of Jewish origin.
We're all Googling it now. Apparently he is Jewish.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't be eating a bacon butty because he eat pork. I just thought I'd throw that into the mix.
Oh, John, listen, thank you for that. Yes, I've just Googled that. He is Jewish. I didn't realise that. And I'm looking at a Jewish online newspaper that's giving Miliband beef. Can I say that? Grief? Let's say grief. For eating a bacon butty. Oh, dear. Malcolm's in Bourneville. Good morning, Malcolm.
Morning, Iain.
Morning, Malcolm.
All right. Iain, I just wanted to give it a perspective of the poor pensioners' point of view about all this voting and Miliband and all the rest of it.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Right. Now, my perception of all this, now, the wife and me went up to voting on the Thursday.
Yep.
And I went in the office, and I went in there, and I thought, well, who am I going to vote for? I hadn't got a clue who to vote for or anything, because every time you ask any of them, what are you going to do for the pensioners if you get in, they all look at you as if to say, well, pensioners, who are you? You know, it's as if we're an afterthought for whether it's the council, MPs or anything. And so when we go there, we just don't know, who's going to do what for us, and we just, as if they don't want to know us, Ian, you know what I mean?
But there are lots of age groups. I think younger people feel the same. And pensioners, to a certain extent, you do get quite a cushy deal in some areas, don't you?
Yes, in some, but I'm talking about us pensioners that have to go everywhere on public transport.
Well, you get free
load up. We haven't got a car to go around.
But you get free public transport, and I don't know if you're in council housing or not, but you're not affected by the spare room subsidy, the bedroom tax.
No, we're all right there. Yeah. I'm just what I'm saying is, Ian, is as pensioners we can't. The government sort of looks at you as if to say, because what we're asking for, I know we get a bus pass, but they could make our lives a little bit better if they was to make the bus passes a lot more flexible and maybe give us that little bit more cash just to help us out so as we're not robbing Peter to pay Paul come towards the end of the third week for the last week of the, before you get your pension again.
What are the restrictions on your bus pass?
On the local, the restrictions are you can't go on the bus before 9:30 in the mornings, Monday to Friday, but you can use it any time at weekends and on bank holidays.
Well, wait on, that doesn't sound bad at all. You don't want to go out before 10:30 anyway, because you miss Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah, no. The missus watches that.
Exactly.
I don't watch that. I listen to you guys in the morning on the radio. What I'm saying is, because we have to go on public transport everywhere, they could say to things like, well, if you want to go on the train or the coach to see relatives, you show your pass and pay half the fare. You with me?
Yeah.
And then wherever you go in the United Kingdom, you can use your bus pass locally within Wales, Scotland, and everywhere. But we can't, you see.
Yeah, Malcolm, that sounds like It sounds like a wonderful system. Why do you want even more stuff free?
No, you're not allowed to do that. This is what I'm trying to say.
No, but you could use your local. You could go to the shops. You've got the bus pass. The bus pass is a great thing. You're not involved in the spare room subsidy. What more do you want? You get a pension. What more do you want from the government?
No, just a few more things like that, because that money they're giving us is we can't save up to pay for the fares to go on the train to go to see relatives or go on holiday if it comes to that.
Chris has emailed in, Malcolm. Chris in Hales Owen has emailed in. Ian, what's Malcolm whinging on about? I'm a pensioner and I certainly don't want to be patronised.
Now, there is some pensioners like that, but I'm not of that sort. I've served my country and I've done a few things, and I've been all around Europe when I was working as a driver, and I know how things go on, and I know we get a raw deal in this country as pensioners.
Very quickly, Malcolm. Ed Miliband will never become Prime Minister because he looks like a plum, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. That's what we wanted. 03453 009956. You see, it's one of those shows where I don't want to organise it too much because we've got too much to talk about. Ed Miliband will never become Prime Minister. Didn't set the local elections alight. Be interesting to see what happens when we get the results of the European elections Sunday night, Monday morning. He doesn't look like a Prime Minister. He looks like a 15-year-old goofy boy who's about to go off and play Grand Theft Auto or something, or not have a session of FIFA. 03453 009956. It's BBC WM 95.6. It's 9:16. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Liz Saul.
Thank you very much, Ian Lee. Good morning. The M6 going south is rather heavy going around Junction 10. Not helped by the ongoing roadworks in the area. Lane and speed restrictions in place, not helping matters. The junction with the A454, the exit for Wolverhampton and for Walsall. The M5 is looking better. The exit Slip Road at Junction 1, that vehicle which broke down has been quickly recovered. The West Bromwich exit to the A41. The M6 going south is much better around Junction 13, that top end of the roadworks. So there was an accident there. That's been quickly sorted out. Along Hagley Road in Birmingham, a little bit busy. There's about a dozen road closures in the centre of Birmingham, around the Hurst Street area. Birmingham Pride Festival is taking place this weekend, today and tomorrow. Claybrook Street, Skinner Lane, Essex Street are among the roads that are closed. And additionally, you'll find parts of the Queensway shut and Cars Lane, among others, from 11:30 till 2 o'clock because of the parade which starts from Victoria Square at 12 noon. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
You've seen the video and heard the soundtrack. Now it's your turn. This Bank Holiday Monday, it's Brum Moves Day. We'll play your favourite Birmingham and Black Country bands and artists. Head to the BBC WM Facebook page and send us your requests.
Can I hear a drum?
Brum Moves Day, this Bank Holiday Monday on BBC WM 95.6.
03453 009956. That call just disappeared. I was about to go to a call. The call vanished. How rude. Not rude. Maybe she had something far more important to do than talk to me. Lots to talk about this morning. Ed Miliband will never become Prime Minister because... ... Complete that sentence if you want. My completion is he looks like a plum. He doesn't... And you do have to be a certain type, don't you, to be in politics. If you look at pretty much any politician, none of them look like normal people. I can't think of a better way of describing it. No politicians look like normal people, do they? They all look odd. You can imagine most of them, when they went to school, instead of having a rucksack or a satchel, they had a briefcase. You can imagine that, can't you? 03453 009956. Ed Miliband will never become Prime Minister because... You can finish that sentence as you see fit. I think it's down to the looks and down to the voice, primarily. If you didn't vote this week, either in the Europeans or the council elections, I'd love to know why. It's not as if anyone died for you to have the right to vote, is it? There'll be some people who'll be furious that you didn't vote, who think you have wasted an opportunity and you don't have a right to complain. I'm not sure I buy into that. But if you didn't vote, could you give me a call and let me know why? 03453 009956. And on to this story I was teasing at the top of the show. The parents of Slovakian parents, Roma origin, they're upset because the most senior judge in the family courts has rejected an appeal by this couple who tried to stop two of their sons being adopted by a gay couple in Kent. The parents, who are originally from Slovakia and are Roman Catholics, argued the children would suffer psychological harm. What do you reckon? Lots there. Should adopted children necessarily be with the same ethnicity? Is that important? Is that significant? And also there's the whole thing about gay couples arguing. Is there a problem? No, adopting. Is there a problem with that? I'm sure gay couples argue all the time. I'm sure straight couples argue all the time. Is there a problem? 03453 009956. Teresa's on the line. Morning, Teresa.
Good morning.
Are you a Teresa or a Teresa?
Teresa.
Teresa, thank you. I'll stop trying to be posh. What would you like to say?
Well, black children, they are given first priority to black people to be adopted.
Right.
So why should people of all religions be given to any Tom, Dick or Harry? If the gay couple are Catholic, that's okay. But are they given a choice? If these children are Roman Catholic, why aren't they given to Roman Catholics? Why is there a distinction between black people and white?
When you say black people,
yes,
you're speaking about all black people as though they're the same group, are you?
Yes.
Because black people can be broken down into different backgrounds, different countries, different religions, different beliefs.
Yes, different colour. Well,
different shades of black. So it's not as simple as saying, hey, those are two black children, let's give them to this black couple, because they may come from, completely different parts of the world.
Oh, well, those here in Birmingham, all among their own people, their own culture, all this. We've heard it all before.
You've heard what all before, sorry?
Yes.
What? What have you heard all before?
Well, they, with their own people, their own culture, their own background is better. And then white children are given to any Tom, Dick or Harry.
Well, I don't think white children... Are you saying that black children, when they're up for adoption, get preferential treatment over white children?
Yes, they do here in Birmingham. Yes, they do.
Give me an example.
Well, I know I've heard it on the radio when it's been discussed that they go to the black people first.
Okay.
They give them if there's a black couple that'll adopt them or foster them. They're first there. Go first there.
Okay. Does it really matter? Who adopts the children? As long as they're loved and looked after, it doesn't matter, does it?
No, no. But if these children are Roman Catholic, are they going to be brought up in the Roman Catholic faith?
Well, the children aren't necessarily... This is an interesting thing about the indoctrination of children into religions. The parents are Roman Catholics, so do the children necessarily need to be brought up as Roman Catholics?
Yes, it is.
Why?
This is why, well, you see, in the very early days in this country, all the Catholic children were being brought up Protestant because it was a Protestant. Dr. Bernard was a Protestant organisation, and it was the Archbishop of Manchester, Bishop Marshall, realised that what was going on and got Father Hudson's homes. That Catholic children were brought up in Catholic homes. But that's all different. You see, you are all today. This is the modern day language. We don't go with that, I'm afraid.
You don't go with indoctrination?
No,
because that's what it is.
Well, they be given to a Catholic family.
Well, suppose if this gay couple were Catholic...
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
Yes, it'd be okay.
There we go, lovely. Well, that's that sorted, Teresa, thank you. 03453 009956. I've never adopted. I'm guessing I probably won't, yeah? And hats off and salutes all around to anybody who does adopt. Well done, you. Does it matter? No, I think it's a great thing to adopt. Well done. But does it matter who brings up the children? Does it matter what colour they are, what ethnic background they're from, what religion they're from, as long as they're loved, as long as they're in a safe, loving environment? Does it matter the sexuality of the parents? 03453 009956. And I think I've got this pretty much right. There aren't enough parents to adopt. So you can't, there are more kids up for adoption than there are parents prepared to adopt. So we can't be as specific as perhaps we'd like to be. Why are we talking about this? Was because of this story. The most senior judge in the family courts has rejected an appeal by a mother and a father of Roma origin who tried to stop two of their sons being adopted by a gay couple in Kent. The parents, who are originally from Slovakia and are Roman Catholics, argued that the children would suffer psychological harm. An earlier hearing ruled that adoption was in the boys' best interests because their parents had been neglecting them and their siblings. I'm joined now by Lucy Boddington, who is from Children Belong to Parents, a Slovakian charity which has been supporting the couple. Morning, Lucy.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Lucy, how are the couple, having lost their children now?
They are extremely sad. They are crying all the time, and it's very hard for them to believe they are really going to lose the children forever.
How long have the couple been in this country?
I'm not actually sure, but I think it will be something around 3 years.
Okay. And why were the children taken off them? What were the couple doing wrong?
Okay, I'm not sure how much I can say about that one. But it started with one child to be taken into care,
yep.
And then it followed with a second one, and then with another two. But they left one child in the family, saying, I think you are dangerous parents for these 4 children, but you are not danger to the last one, which I think this is a proof that there is something wrong in the Kent County Council judgment.
It's in some of the papers that I've got in front of me in the Daily Mail. One of the things they said the parents failed to keep one of the younger boys in a smoke-free area. School workers found the children were not going to school or getting medical care. They were over-chastised, dirty and unkempt.
Okay, so yes, the parents do smoke, so I assume they might be smoking at home. Then about being unkept or dirty. So we have to understand the circumstances. This family was trafficked into UK. They were offered a job in England. The father took the opportunity, but didn't want to take his family first. So he came over to UK with his oldest son to see what the opportunity is there. They were promised a work and a house. They arrived, and there was a work and there was a house. The boss gave him £1,000 and said, go back to Slovakia and bring all your family over. He had 10 children altogether, 9, and her oldest daughters had children of their own. So he brought the family back to UK. The boss took their passports and claimed benefits on them without them knowing about it. He kept all the money, and he was giving them a pocket money. Then after a while they find out they're being cheated on, and then there was an organization called Hope for Justice who helped them to send them into a different town in UK to get out from this boss, the man who made fraud on them. And they were given, I don't know if I would call it an accommodation, but yes, they were given an accommodation. There were 2 adults, 10 children. The oldest daughter children on their own, and they were living in some bed and breakfast in the cellar, in 2 rooms, 2 toilets.
So the children were dirty and unkempt.
There was no washing machine. The mother would have to do all washing for 14 people.
Why didn't they go back to Slovakia?
I think they would love to go back to Slovakia, but they had the court proceedings here about being trafficked here and
but before it got to
any money for it.
Okay, but before it got to them, their children being taken off them, if the conditions were so appalling here, why didn't they take the family back to Slovakia?
But they didn't have any money for that. The boss wasn't giving them enough money. I mean, he was giving them enough money to have food and maybe some clothes, but not to have.
It says here the kids weren't going to school.
I think they were going to school, but there would be occasions when they might not go to school. The parents were always sending them to school and supporting them to go there.
So this report is wrong when it says they were not going to school?
No, I believe these children sometimes didn't go to school, but that's the thing about Roma culture. They in Slovakia, I mean, it's very common that Roma children do not go to school. It's a very
that's in Slovakia. This is surely when you come to this country, you have to abide by the rules and the laws of the land, don't you?
Yes.
And if the rules say your kids have to go to school, then tough luck if they don't when you're in a foreign country. They have to go to school.
Yes, it is. But if there is a problem like this, you would not take the children into care in the first place. You would go and help them.
They weren't getting medical care?
I cannot make any comment about that, as I don't know about anything that they would not have any.
Okay, you didn't hear about that.
Care.
They were over-chastised.
Again, it would be in the eyes of maybe an English social worker.
Were they getting walloped?
Sorry?
Were they getting hit?
I believe, yes, I believe.
And in what kind of hitting? I mean, with a belt, with a hand, with a slipper?
No. I definitely, if it was happening, then it would be with a hand. It's a very common in my country. It's something in this country where we are coming from, or they are coming from. There is no way how they would think to I don't know how you call it. When you beat a child with your hand, that it's something you can't do.
Okay.
I'm not talking about beating when you've got bruises and things like that. It's over the top.
Okay, and I'm just asking to get a picture so I fully understand. Now, Lucy, is their main problem that the children are being adopted, or is the problem that the children are being adopted by homosexuals?
I think the main problem is that the children were removed from the family in the first place because it shouldn't happen. And how I said, the social services left one child with the family, saying it's okay to have that one, but you cannot have
because
it's too much.
The story says the parents protested after they discovered that their 2 youngest boys, aged 4 and 1, were not going to be adopted by the Roman Catholic family they'd asked for. So the story implies here in the Mail that the family were okay for the adoption as long as it was into a Roman Catholic family.
The parents, they have to accept there is an order in England which is sending the children into adoption. So if this has to happen, then okay, they would be happy if the children are going into a heterosexual couple, a Roman Catholic, yes. But they do not agree with the adoption. But if it has to happen, then they would like their children to be brought up as similar to the way how they would be brought up in their biologic family.
What's their problem? What's their beef with a gay couple adopting them?
Well, these parents are really strongly devoting Catholics. They are practicing Catholics. The children are baptized. They are Catholics. And you cannot remove that. That happened, and that is for the rest of their life. And
so what's the problem with a gay couple adopting them?
Well, it's, as you may know, the gay homosexuality, the homosexuality is against the church teaching. And, they say that the children can go into Catholic school, which is great. And
so they'll be brought up, they'll still have a Catholic upbringing then, which was the point one of the callers made. They'll go to a Catholic school.
But think about that one, they will be taught at school that practicing homosexuality is a sin. They will go back to home and, what they will see there.
Well, they'll hear
people,
they'll hear from the school that it's a sin if they do bring it up in school, and then they'll go home and see actually they'll have that proved wrong. They'll have that myth proved wrong by seeing that actually homosexual couples can be loving and caring and.
Oh no! This is a misunderstanding. Yes, homosexual couple can be loving and good. It's nothing against the homosexual people.
Except they're sinners.
It's against the homosexuality. It's a different, yeah.
Yeah, well, they're not.
We don't say that the homosexual people are bad. That's rubbish. It's not true. But yes, homosexual activities, it's sin. It doesn't matter how much
they're not going to be doing
love
it.
Each other.
Lucy, they're not going to be doing it in front of the kids, are they?
I hope no.
Well, no. I tell you now, they won't be. They won't be. They will not be having gay sex in front of the children.
No, but they might hold each other's hands. They maybe might kiss each other.
Isn't that wonderful?
It can be very loving. It can be very nice, isn't it? But it's still a homosexual practicing.
Yeah, and so the kids will go to the school. They'll hear the biblical side of it, the Roman Catholic side of it, and then they'll go home and go, actually, my gay dads, they're really nice, and they're not going around being corrupt, and they'll see the other side of it, which has got to be a good thing, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's not about the homosexuality, isn't it? What you're talking about is about how the person is or how the people are. And we don't say that homosexual people are bad people. Not at all. They can be very nice, very loving, very honest, and so on, and that's very good. But they should not raise up children. And I don't mean it just Roman Catholic children. I don't think so. Homosexual couples should have opportunity to adopt children.
Lucy, it's a fascinating story. I appreciate your time. That's Lucy Boddington. She's from Children Belong to Parents. That's a Slovakian charity which has been supporting the couple. There's so much in this story, isn't there? There's so much. One of the complaints is that one of the parents failed to keep one of the younger boys in a smoke-free area, so they smoked at home. Now, I don't think you should smoke in front of kids. I don't think you should smoke in the car with kids. I don't think you should smoke in the house with kids. Is that worth taking children away from their parents? Probably not. What other things have we got here? They were not going to school. Apparently that's quite common for Roma families in Slovakia, according to Lucy Boddington. That's quite common for them not to send their children to school. Tough. I do think if you're in a certain country, you have to abide by the rules and the laws. They weren't getting medical care. They were over-chastised, dirty and unkempt. Now, is that enough for them to have been adopted? I don't know. Really. 03453 009956. Lucy there very strongly of the belief that gay couples should not be adopting children. Because they might be holding hands in front of them. They might kiss in front of them. Oh, no, she hopes they won't be having full intercourse in front of them. Guess what? They won't be. 03453 009956. There you go. It's kind of all out there. I don't have a specific question about this. There are so many elements. There are so many sides to this. You've heard the conversation. I want you to join in now.
This Saturday from 2, we're at the Bankses with the England under-19s. We'll preview the Champions League final with David Ginola, plus there's golf, cricket, Heineken Cup rugby and Peter Andre.
BBC WM
95.6.
And Peter Andre, you say? Gosh. We've got some calls that have been here for a while. Who's been here the longest? Dave has been... Oh, Dave, can I come to you in a second? Because you want to talk about Ed Miliband. I just want to take a couple of calls on adoption first. So bear with me, Dave. Let's go to Rob in Tipton. Morning, Rob. Morning, Rob.
Yeah, basically, my daughter's gay. I'm a father myself, quite a modern family. It was really hard for my daughter to tell us about her sexuality, even though we suspected. But, you know, she said it was natural, it's something that's inside her, it's choice, blah, blah, blah. And my view on that with children is, when children grow up like my children have, they say, you know, like I have, I've mirror imaged my parents. Yeah, I'm saying things that my dad would have said, and when I was younger I'd say I'd never say that, but I have. I'm acting the same way in many ways as a parent, as an older father now. So my view on that is that a gay couple, like two gay men or two gay women, whatever, the child's growing up looking at the mirror image of what they see in front of them, and they're not really being given that free choice, are they, of a normal heterosexual upbringing?
You're right.
That child isn't gay. That child's 1, 2, 5. It's not got any choices. Yeah. We're putting the choices in front of the child.
So what you're saying is that they grow up and they see fat gay parents. They might think, well, I'm gay.
Yeah, well, it's normal. Yeah. Well, it would be normality to I don't know, to look at boys in a changing room or to have desires towards the male, because my fathers are that way. Or if it's a girl, I think I'm more comfortable being in the arms of a girl because I see my mother's that way.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, if kids see their parents being gay, they might become gay. What does your gay partner think about this, Rob?
You know, my daughter wants.
Rob, what does your gay partner think about this? Because I'm assuming you're gay.
No, I'm not. I'm straight. I'm as straight as a nine-month old, mate. Yeah, I've got 4 kids. It's my daughter that's gay.
And she saw that because what? Your wife's a lesbian? Well, I'm confused because the point you've made is that kids become gay because they see their gay parents. How did your daughter become gay then?
No, that was what I said. It was something that was when she came out and she spoke to us as a family.
So basically,
it was a choice
but
that she had inside her.
She saw you in a loving heterosexual relationship, and yet she still wasn't heterosexual. So what you've done there, Rob, is you've just argued yourself against your own point. She saw you in a heterosexual relationship, and yet she became gay. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You've argued yourself out of an argument.
No, I haven't, because what I'm trying to implement is that in our normal society, our normal heterosexual society, as it's stated, without all the rights and all the way that we're trying to change everything, like not chastising children, not doing this, not doing that, all it's doing is it's sort of like penning people, you know, like herding sheep into a pen, how you want it, and no one's being given that real free choice.
But why would a child adopted by a gay couple be more likely to be gay? Because your daughter was living in a heterosexual family and she's gay.
Yeah.
So the parenting doesn't have anything to do with it, it would seem. Gay children come from heterosexual parents.
Yes,
facts.
Of course they do.
Of course they do.
100%. Yeah. Because you only become gay because you're born heterosexual. Simple.
Sorry?
Yeah. You're born heterosexual. When you're born, as a male or a female, you're heterosexual, aren't you? A human being.
I'm not necessarily going to take that premise. Go on.
Well, as you grow up, then you have a choice, don't you? Whether I'm going to sleep with a woman or I'm going to sleep with a man because I'm the male. Yeah. I am heterosexual. I like women. That's my choice.
But Rob, there's a lot of points there that I'm not necessarily agreeing with. Come on, we've all seen young boys, 7, 8, 9 years old, and thought, hang on, they're gay. I'm sure we all have. Haven't we? I'm not the only one that's seen a young lad and thought he's going to grow up to be gay, which is fine. But Rob,
I know. But what I'm trying to say, Ian, is surely to God, logically, if you put a normal heterosexual straight child in a gay environment, right, in a gay loving family, because I've got gay friends, I wish I could bring some of them and talk to you.
I bet you have. I bet you know black people as well.
Yeah, I have. I love black people, I love Asian friends,
Brilliant.
And it isn't about that. It's about what we do in society to say that this is right and this is wrong.
So it's wrong to be gay?
No, it's not wrong to be gay. It's just wrong to pen children into an environment. I know children need to be loved and they need to be brought up, but I just feel as a parent who's got a gay child, who's got gay friends, and have these topics and discussions, that it would only be fair for that child to be brought up in a normal heterosexual family.
What do you mean by normal?
Like in the sense that you see a man and a woman loving each other and that way.
So it's abnormal to see...
Without the mirror image effect.
OK, so it's abnormal to see two men loving each other?
No, it isn't. Not in today's society, but the other lady that went on before who came on and she was a bit dated because she's obviously the older crew as such.
And you're very forward-thinking, yes.
Yeah, I am very forward-thinking, and I say what's on my mind.
Yeah.
A lot of our problems stem from those generations, because
bigots.
we
a lot of the problems stem from
modern
bigots.
now. Yeah, we're modern now.
Aren't we?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
But, Rob, you've argued against yourself. You have said that a child who is brought up by gay parents is more likely to become... is going to become gay because they see that as, in your words, the normal. Yeah. The norm.
That's just my opinion,
but your daughter has grown up gay and she's seen you in a heterosexual relationship.
Yes, because my daughter isolated her for 5 years from her family and was around her gay friends as such, as she put it, for her security.
Her gay friends made her gay?
No, her gay friends gave her more security, and obviously because she was more in that fold and more around those individuals, she became more and more comfortable and more susceptible to that environment and more susceptible to those conditions.
Rob, I'm going to end it there. Thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956. Here's something. I'm not the only one that's seen like a young boy, 7, 8, 9 years old, and thought, yeah, he's gay. Am I? You can tell sometimes, can't you? Can tell sometimes, and there's not a problem with that. Great, fantastic. I hope he realises at an appropriate stage in his life and grows up to be happy and doesn't have inner turmoil questioning who and what he is. But what was being said there was interesting, right? If you have kids brought up by gay couples, they're probably going to become gay because they see that as, in inverted commas, normal. Yet his daughter saw him in a loving heterosexual relationship. Gay kid, get this. Gay kids come from straight parents, pretty much, most of the time. I would say a significant amount of time. So that whole argument, that whole theory has to be complete and utter guff, doesn't it? 03453 009956. Velma's in Tipton. Morning, Velma.
Good morning.
What would you like to say?
Well, I agree with you. 9% of them come from straight people. I mean, I had two nephews. One loved the women. God did he love them. And the other one is straight, is gay. He'd love to adopt. And it all depends how they're brought up. Elton John had two. They've got all the spouse there and all the things are there for them to be looked after. And it's just, how can you explain what they're like? They don't do nothing in front of people. We've never seen them hold hands or kiss one another. They've given one another a hug, and they've given us a hug when anything happened to me, his brother. So, but they just love to bring up kids. I mean, and kids not, the babies, they don't treat them as the fathers. Well, they treat them as the fathers, yeah. But they're just treated normal. When they grow up, they might not be gay, so they're probably like the women just the same as everybody else.
Does it matter, Velma? One of the other arguments that this Slovakian couple had was that they were Roman Catholics and they were worried that their children being adopted would lose their Roman Catholicism and it would also lose their Slovakian kind of heritage. Is it important that the kids are brought up in a similar ethnic background, do you think?
My nephew's who's gay. He's a Roman Catholic, but he was godfather to me two grandkids. Yep. So if they want to be Catholic, let them. If the kids want to be Catholic, let them be Catholic. It's when they grow older they can have the choice. And if they want to be Church of England, Muslims, let the kids have the choice.
Velma, thank you very much indeed. I'm moving on just because I'm running out of time. 03453 009956. Simon, stay there. Dave, you've been waiting for ages. I promise I will come to you, Dave, straight after the travel. BBC WM 95.6. Let's get that travel now with Liz.
Thank you, Ian. The M6 is looking rather heavy going southbound around Junction 10. This is, of course, part of the roadworks section, the bottom end of the roadworks at the Wolverhampton and Walsall exit and the A454. At 13 to 12 at the top end of the roadworks is also looking rather busy, not helped by an accident which briefly blocked a lane by Junction 13, but towards Junction 12, the A5 Gailey and Telford exit is rather busy. It's not looking too bad in and out of Birmingham. East off the moment along Hagley Road. There are about a dozen road closures in the centre of Birmingham around the Hurst Street area as the Birmingham Pride Parade and Festival is going on this weekend, today and tomorrow. So just be mindful of the thousands of people expected throughout the weekend and all those road closures in place until later on tomorrow night. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
Middleton,
Mile Oak,
Moseley,
Oldbury,
Pattingham.
Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM
95.6.
It's one of those shows where we're kind of just throwing everything out and seeing what sticks. There's lots to talk about. So we can carry on talking about this Slovakian couple who are upset their kids have been taken off them. They're going to be adopted by a gay couple. Should you have a say in who adopts your kids? Should gays be allowed to adopt? And does it really matter? As long as the kids are loved and looked after, that's the important thing, isn't it? 03453 009956. We're also talking politics. Did you vote? If you didn't vote, I'd love to know why. I tell you what was interesting about the European elections. Did you see how long the ballot paper was? The ballot paper was the size of a 6-year-old. It was huge. It was huge. And there were so many parties, and we can't talk about results and exit polls and things like that until Monday, which is fine. But there were so many parties that I'd never heard of. You think, why are you wasting your money? The England is England party, England out of Europe party, the United Kingdom out of Europe party. There were so many different parties. What was that all about? Why didn't you vote? And are you angry with people who don't vote? And Ed Miliband, lots of criticism of Ed Miliband. Sorry, I'm just throwing all these topics out. Normally when you do a phone-in show, you stick with one thing for an hour, then you move on to the next thing. And today, we're not doing that. We're just kind of throwing all out there. You can come on about anything. Ed Miliband is getting a kicking in the papers. He's not really taken the political world by storm. I said this about 2 or 3 years ago. He will never be Prime Minister. Why? Because he looks like a plum. He looks... And I say this, with the greatest of respect, which means I'm going to be slightly disrespectful. His face looks funny. His voice sounds funny. He should have had his adenoids taken out, or his tonsils. He will never be Prime Minister because of the way he looks and sounds. David Cameron looks like a Prime Minister. John Major looked like a Prime Minister. Tony Blair looked like a Prime Minister. 03453 009956. Dave, you've been waiting for ages. I can only apologise, sir. What have you got?
Morning, Ian.
Morning, Dave.
Comparing Ed Miliband with Cameron and Clegg and Major and... Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Cameron and Clegg have proven what good Prime Ministers they are. I mean, it's been nothing but cons and lies, I mean, they've destroyed the lives of so many people.
What cons have there been?
Well, before the election, just one thing. Clegg promised that there'd be nothing to do with the tuition fees for the, Cameron before the election said that the NHS was safe in his hands, and ever since they've been in power, all he's tried to do is privatise it all.
But he would still argue. I mean, yes, the Nick Clegg thing, there's no argument against that at all. But David Cameron would still argue that the NHS is safe in his hands.
Well,
he's improving it.
Of course he would, you see.
So that's not a con or a lie.
Well, of course it is, you see, because the Tories especially will always defend the indefensible. They don't believe they're wrong, because in their eyes, they look after their own. That's why the majority of the country is in such a mess. That's why working people are getting full-time salaries at the end of the month, and within a week to a week and a half of having the salaries, they're having to go cap in hand to food banks.
Dave, Labour chose the wrong person. Dare I say it? They chose the wrong Miliband. They should have. His brother looks like a Prime Minister.
Yeah, hang on. But that's your opinion.
No, it's the opinion of pretty much everyone. Have you not seen the papers? He's not. The Labour have held pretty steady during the local elections. It'll be interesting to see what the European elections are. Labour are getting itchy feet around Ed Miliband. They know they've chosen a plonker.
Right. Okay. So compare this then. You're blaming Miliband for the result of the elections. So are you going to blame Cameron that they had a whopping?
Well, you have.
Are you going to blame Clegg that they got wiped out?
Yes. You have to. The leader has to take responsibility, don't they?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, all through this conversation and through your programme, you've just been battering Miliband. You ain't compared them. Cameron. But he's responsible, according to you, for the whopping they had. Clegg's responsible for the whopping they had. You've got another clown now, Farage.
Yeah.
I've watched him, I've heard him, and I'll tell you, he's got a nasty, nasty arrogance about him.
OK. I don't get your point, though. The reason I'm talking about Ed Miliband is because it's in a lot of the papers, because he is not exciting the electorate as people were expecting to. Let me finish. I've put forward my reasons why he's not excited. So that's why Labour didn't do well in these elections. The reason that the Tories and the Lib Dems didn't do well in these elections is because they are the parties in power. So we've seen they are losing votes because of their policies and because of what they're doing. Ed Miliband and Labour are losing votes because he looks like a plum.
Well, you see, talking about Major, you mentioned Major. I mean, through his premiership, he said we want to go back to morals and principles.
Yes.
And then we find out that he's sending down the corridor for an hot curry.
We found that out after, though, didn't we?
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying
there
is,
you go.
These good-looking prime ministers that you're referring to...
Yes.
Oh, he looks like a prime minister.
Yeah.
Well, just because they look like a prime minister, it doesn't mean to say that they're going to be any good as a prime minister.
And at no point in the show, Dave, have I said that they will be good because they look like a prime minister.
Well, yeah, but you have
I've not
continually
said
and persistently
spouted
off about Ed Miliband. And what I'm saying to you,
yes,
when I vote for what I believe they will do.
Right.
I don't give a damn whether they look...
Well, yeah, I would suggest you're quite old-fashioned in that respect, because I would imagine in today's modern society that more people, subconsciously possibly, vote on who they think will be the best leader.
Listen.
And Ed Miliband does not look like a leader.
That's your opinion.
It's a fact.
Well, you see, you refer to the media. Well, the media have proven time and time again how much they can be believed.
What's that got to do with what we're talking about, Dave? We're not talking about...
You have just said, you quoted the papers about what they're saying about Miliband.
Yes.
So we're going to take that as gospel.
No, Ed Balls has come out, and I'm trying to find the story now. Ed Balls has come out and said that Miliband... This is not good enough, says Balls. Continued from page 1. It's on page 1 of the Mail.
Right.
The savaging of Red Ed. Shadow Cabinet turn on Miliband as Labour pays price for ignoring Farage. Labour was in turmoil last night as senior MPs rounded on Ed Miliband for failing to anticipate the dangers of a UKIP surge.
Right. Well, you see, the fact was that the hierarchy in the Labour Party, they didn't give Farage the attention that he needed. Because what they should have...
Hang on a minute. Those people have been coming out saying they've been giving him too much attention, and that's why he's doing so well.
No, you see, they didn't confront him enough. He's been allowed to get away with almost all the garbage that he's come away with. The Labour Party have not confronted him enough. And I tell you, you just believe this, friend, or disbelieve it. He is a wolf in sheep clothing.
But he looks like a Prime Minister, doesn't he?
Well...
Doesn't he? He does, doesn't he?
Not to me, he don't.
No, he does. Look at his face. If you look at it objectively, forget what he says, forget the words that come out of his mouth, he looks like a Prime Minister. David Cameron looks like a Prime Minister. Ed Miliband doesn't. His brother, the other Miliband, looks like a Prime Minister, and I suggest that in today's modern fickle world, if they'd gone for the other Miliband, Labour would be doing a lot better.
Well, listen, I'm well aware of how a lot of Labour members felt about the fact that Ed got the job, yeah?
Yeah.
But you see, this is one of the things that's wrong with politics. You base your thoughts and feelings on how somebody looks, not what they'll do.
Oh, yeah, it's wrong, but it's a fact.
You see, I voted Labour, right?
Yeah.
And I've voted Labour in the past for the Nationals because I hope and wish and pray that the Labour Party will get into power to make this country a more fairer and...
They won't with Miliband in control. I hate to shatter your illusions, but they won't.
Well, that's your opinion.
Well, no, we'll see. Well, I tell you what, let's speak at the end of May in 2015, and if I'm wrong, then I will buy you a pie.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, even if the Labour Party get a whopping...
free pie.
Even if the Labour Party get a whopping at the election, it won't be down just to Miliband.
Well, no, it has to be, because he is the figurehead. He is the one that everyone... When you think of Labour, you think of the leader. You think of Ed Miliband. And, of course, when you're voting in the general elections, you're voting for your local MP. But a lot of people don't really realise that. They're voting for the party. Ipso facto, they're voting for Ed Miliband.
Well, all I can say to you is that on your theory, you know, what a sad mistake a lot of people made in reality for putting Clegg and Cameron in, because they look, according to you, they look the part, but they certainly ain't behaved like a reasonable, fair-minded gang of yobs together.
Dave, thank you very much indeed. 0345. I'm not saying it's right that we vote on looks. And maybe intellectually we think we don't, but subconsciously, at the very, very least, we do. Ed Miliband doesn't look like a Prime Minister. His brother does. In a parallel universe... It's David Miliband, wasn't it? Yeah, in a parallel universe, David Miliband is leading the Labour Party to victory. They're drubbing the Tories at the moment. Simon's in Walsall. Morning, Simon.
Good morning.
Simon, what would you like to say, sir?
With regards to the gay couple adopting the kids.
Yeah.
I can't see any problem with them as long as they love them and care for them and look after them.
And that's got to be the key factor, hasn't it? It's the way the children are brought up is the most important thing.
As it. If my son came to me in 18 years and said, "Look, Dad, I'm gay," I'd be no less proud of him than I am now.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. If my boys came up to me and said, "Dad, I'm gay," I'd hug them, I'd give them a kiss, I'd say, "Thanks for telling me, have fun," you know. If I'm honest, a little bit of me would be disappointed, I think. A little bit. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean that in any bigoted way. Why would I feel disappointed? I'm trying to be honest here and open, and why would I feel disappointed? I don't know. Let me have a think about it during the news and see if I can come up with a reason as to why I'd be a little bit disappointed. Not going, "Oh, my God, no, my sons are gay, I hate it!" I'd be proud of them. I'd be proud that he could come and talk to me about it and tell me about it, and I'd wish them well. A little bit maybe disappointed, and I wonder why. Maybe it's because I feel I would miss out on the traditional, in inverted commas, normal, the word was used earlier on, life that we kind of expect and hope for our children of... bringing girls home, of marrying a woman in a white dress, the woman of course. Do you know what I mean? And it's only a minor disappointment. I wouldn't begrudge it. I wouldn't resent him. I wouldn't hold it against him. And I like to think I'm kind of some kind of crazy liberal, but I guess a little bit of me would feel ever so slightly disappointed. And that's me being honest with you. I hope you appreciate my honesty. 03453 009956. Wow, what a feisty first hour we've had of the show so far. So, gay couples adopting. Is it important for children to be brought up in the same kind of ethnic and religious background? Hey, I'd love to talk to you if you have adopted. What kind of tests did you have to go through? And if you were the adoptee or the adopter, were there any restrictions on who you could adopt? And Ed Miliband, he's not set the political world alight, has he? No. The reason being, he just looks and sounds... How can I put this politely? I can't. Odd. He doesn't have that prime ministerial quality, does he? No.
With full commentary of every Warwickshire cricket game this summer, exclusively online, bbc.co.uk/WM.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
It's 10 o'clock exactly. Let's get the latest news now with Nicole Pullman.
The US Coast Guard has discovered that the 4 British yachtsmen who went missing in the Atlantic didn't have time to use their life raft. The hull of the Cheeky Rafiki has been found, with the life raft still on board. There's no sign of the crew. The 40-foot vessel had been returning to the UK when it ran into difficulties just over a week ago. Simon Boxall from the University of Southampton told us the crew wouldn't have stood a chance.
The fact that the hull had lost its keel means that the crew would have had no time to respond. Once the keel comes off a yacht, it turns turtle, certainly capsizes very, very quickly. We're talking seconds. There's no time to respond to that. And it's probable that the crew weren't even aware that the reason the boat was leaking was the fact the keel was coming adrift.
A learner driver has been arrested on suspicion of carjacking his instructor in the middle of a lesson in Birmingham. The 22-year-old was picked up by police at his home in Erdington after an incident in Church Lane in Handsworth on Thursday. The 56-year-old's instructor was injured and his car was later found abandoned. The most senior judge in the family courts has rejected an appeal by a couple of Roma origin who tried to stop 2 of their sons being adopted by a gay couple in Kent. The parents argued that the children would suffer psychological harm. A 10-year-old schoolboy has saved the life of a pensioner from King Swinford by being able to say what was wrong with her. Adam Holliday from Glyn Primary School was in his school playing field when he heard the cry for help from Brenda Armstrong. He thought she was having a heart attack, but he rushed over and said she was actually having a stroke because he'd been taught the signs by his grandmother, who works for the Dudley Stroke Association.
Got to act fast. I tried to ask her to smile, and she couldn't smile, to try and wave, but she couldn't wave either. And then speech, I asked her to try and say hello, and she couldn't. I was really scared. Don't see that every day when you're 10.
Just weeks into the close season, there's international football at the Banksy Stadium this afternoon. The England under-19s take on Montenegro, kick-off at 3 o'clock, with Aston Villa's Callum Robinson part of the squad. It's the first of 3 matches inside a week in the UEFA European Under-19 Championship. Scotland and Ukraine are also involved, but only the top team will go through to the finals in Hungary in July. The former Villa and Blues defender Noel Blake is the England coach, and he's fully enjoying his role in the international setup.
Any sort of people or person who work with development in any way, shape or form, whether it's in education or...
And a look at the weather, staying very unsettled today with heavy showers, some of which may be thundery. The top temperature, 16 Celsius, 61 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Thank you, Nicole. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. The show, slightly more shambolic, I said, and rambling than usual. Normally when you do a phone-in show, you kind of, right, the first hour we're going to talk about this, and then in the second hour this, and then the third hour something a little bit light and wacky. We're not doing that today. I'm just kind of shoving everything at you, because there are so many things, so many little bits to talk about. I'm just throwing everything at you and hoping that you will pick up something and come and give me a call. So far, you're playing your part excellently. Well done. It's appreciated. What have we had so far? Well, we've talked about Ed Miliband. He's getting a drubbing in the papers today. The reason, I believe, that Ed Miliband has failed to ignite the world of politics is because of the way he looks and the way he sounds. There's just something about him that doesn't say to me Prime Minister. It says geeky bloke who wants to go and play on an Atari. 03453 009956. Well, why do you... Ed Miliband will never become Prime Minister because... You complete the sentence, please. Also, I've asked this and none of you have called in. Maybe it's just a complete sense of apathy. Why didn't you vote this week in either the locals or the European elections? Why not? But if you were too apathetic to vote, maybe you're too apathetic to call. When you hear about people who don't vote, does it get you angry? Some people get very upset by it, don't they? And also, we're talking about a story that Nicole was mentioning in the news. This Roma couple from Slovakia. They've had their kids taken off them, some of their kids taken off them, and they're being put up for adoption, and they've been given to a gay couple. Now, as far as I can tell, the Slovakians were happy enough for the kids to be adopted when it was going to be a Roman Catholic couple. Now it's a gay couple, well, they're not so sure. If you've been adopted, if you've adopted, I'd love to know what hoops you had to jump through. Was there any pressure on you to adopt children of the same ethnicity, the same colour, the same religious background? There's a lot to talk about, and I know I've thrown it all out there. Grab what you want and then come and talk to me. 03453 009956.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453 009956.
BBC WM 95.6.
I also put out, before the news, if either or both of my sons came up to me and said they were gay, I would love them no less. I would hug them, I would kiss them, I'd say, well, thanks for telling me. Good luck. Part of me, though, and I'm being completely honest, and it's a tiny part, a tiny, tiny part, would be slightly disappointed. And I can't verbalise why. Is it because that gay people are not the norm? And when I say the norm, I'm saying that statistically. I'm saying it statistically. I'm not saying it's not normal. I believe it is normal for people to be gay. But it's not the statistical norm. Is that it? Is that why I'd feel disappointed? Is it because we are brought up in a heterosexual world where we expect our children to follow certain heterosexual paths? Is that what we're disappointed? If anyone can help, do let me know. I can't put my finger on it. On the subject... Oh, Ronnie's called in about this. Morning, Ronnie.
Morning, mate.
Ronnie, what would you like to say?
So it's just a couple of quick comments.
Go on.
One about you talking about what the MP can look like or the Prime Minister can look like.
Yeah, go on.
I think you're right in that sense, because when your eyes meet across a room and you see, like, a lady or a gentleman across the room, you go on what they look like. You don't go on what they stand for or what they feel. You know, it is appearance, and an appearance... Well, it's the most important thing, isn't it? Really.
Ronnie, you've explained it much better than I've been able to for the first hour of the show. You're absolutely right. We make, as much as we don't want to, we make snap judgments on how somebody looks. Those judgments can change over time, but our first thought is on what they look like. Height, weight, colour, hair, glasses, beard, whatever it may be.
Oh, definitely.
You're spot on.
The second thing, really quick, is when you were talking about your son, if he came to you while you was gay and why you would feel that way.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, could it also be, I mean, I don't know if you have any brothers, but would it be, that could be the end of the family name? The family name's going to end there, more than likely.
Do you know what, Ronnie? I haven't got any brothers. Possibly, except... Now, here's some honesty, dear listener. My name is Iain Lee. Lee is now legally my surname. I changed it by default. It's not the name I was born with.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
in some ways, I kind of made an attempt to end the family name anyway. So it's not that, but I can see your point, Ronnie. Thank you. I'll let you go because the line's not great. It's not that. It's not the ending of the family name. I'm the first Lee in my family. Changed it by deed-poll. Oh, change your name by deed-poll. My real name, I'm not telling, is Rugby. Try spelling it. Try spelling Rugby. You can't do it. That's one of the many reasons I changed it. I also wasn't getting on with my dad at the time. Anyway, change your name by deed-poll. It's the most empowering thing. You go online, you type in what your name is, you type in what you'd like your name to be, you pay them £36, you have a new name. That's it. It gets. You've then got to buy You've got to buy certificates that are £12 a pop that you have to send out to the bank and the mortgage and the driving licence people. But that's it. That's it. You type in what your name is, what you want your name to be. You pay them £36. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a new name. It was the most exciting, empowering thing. It's true, isn't it? You get Producer Joe's has looked it up. It's true. Do it. Change your name. Change your name to Producer Joe. Change it to that. Oh, is there a rude text about me as well? Oh, there's a surprise. Pat's in Pelsall. Morning, Pat.
Good morning.
Pat, what would you like to say?
I'm just having an input on what you've just said and things that are being pinpointed by various people phoning in.
Give me an input.
Okay, I was in a situation where All right, I'm just going to give you a scenario.
Okay, is this a scenario that happened to you?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Right. You have a granddaughter, age 1, possibly fell over either at home or at the nursery.
Right.
You're not aware because at age 1, they're toddling about. So come to a break. Now, this baby didn't cry, but the baby fell over probably about 3-4 months later,
Right.
and suffered another break. But this other break, the mother noticed the baby whinging a bit and whatever.
Yes.
So I suggested take her straight to the hospital and see if there's anything that you're not aware of. But not particularly about the arm, just crying unduly. When they checked, they found out there were a break and a previous break. It's not very big because a 1-year-old bones are a little bit softer.
They're very soft, aren't
Right.
they? Yes, yes.
Nobody knew where this break occurred.
Right.
This baby is toddling about, so they could have fallen probably about 30 or 40 times. Could be in your home, a friend's home, in the park, wherever.
Right.
But it was pointed out to social services. And when they hear something like that, their alarm bell starts flowing. Now, it was suggested that it could have been mom who physically broke the baby arm.
Yep.
Almost everything went AY. Social services wanted to take this baby into care.
Right.
We protested, and they looked upon the situation, checked over everything. I gave my input. The entire family was on board. And if we didn't fight, that baby would have been taken away. So in this situation, I want you to, whenever you hear situations like this happening to families, don't just jump to conclusion that there's a bad mother or whatever. Social services only have to have a pinhead information. And before you know it, it's blown out. And I tell you, some of these social workers, I don't know what they've got, if they've got a heart or what, but they will write a report that if it was you and you read it, you would think, oh, my God, I cannot believe that anybody could write such a thing about me.
How did the child sustain the first break?
We haven't got a clue. This baby is going to a nursery. You know, when they go to a nursery...
So you're jumping to the conclusion, Pat, that it was the nursery. She broke her arm in the nursery.
Listen to me.
No. I'm just saying because the social services...
Let me speak,
the
please.
social services have made an assumption about your family, and you're doing exactly the same thing about the nursery without any evidence.
I just said before, I said it could have happened in the park. It could have happened in the nursery where the baby went to. Because what they do, they put them in this ball pit.
You would think a mum would notice if a child had broken her arm.
The baby didn't cry. This is what I'm trying to say to you, Ian. We're not silly. If the baby had cried and we noticed it, it probably when the other break happened that the baby starts whinging a bit. If you got a baby crying, you haven't got a clue what's the matter with it. You look at it in the face, you notice no rash, it hasn't got a temperature. You don't know what it is. But I suggested to the mother, take the baby to the hospital.
Hang on, was this during the second break?
Yes.
So the mother didn't notice the second time that the baby had broken the arm?
We didn't know.
Flipping heck, Pat, you know if a baby's broken an arm.
Excuse me, it's an airline, like an airline break inside the arm.
It took you to suggest to the mum that she went to A&E?
You're a young mom. She wasn't young. She was in her 30s.
I don't care how old she was. If your baby's upset and won't stop crying...
You're not listening to me.
No, Pat, I am. If your baby is upset and it will not stop crying... You go to the doctors. You go to A&E with it. Of course you do.
This is what I'm trying to say to you. And, you know, I admire you for your broadcast and your input. But sometimes you don't listen to people.
Pat, I'm listening. What I've heard is there was a mum whose baby broke its arm twice...
How many mothers out there will have a baby that's a crier? You haven't got a clue what the problem is.
You don't just leave it to cry. You investigate.
No, the baby isn't continuously crying, Ian.
Pat, if the baby is distressed, and you can tell when a baby is in pain, or when a baby is hungry, or when a baby is just having a whinge. There are different cries.
If I could say, I would say probably is. Okay, if your baby is hungry, you feed the baby.
Yeah, and if it doesn't stop crying, then...
Right.
Yeah.
What do? You pick it up and you hush it and whatever.
Yeah, and if it doesn't stop crying, you take it to the doctors.
Have you got children?
Yes, I have, Pat.
Right.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, you hush the baby, and the baby fall asleep. Okay, goes to sleep, wake up, and the baby is there playing around or whatever. It probably topple over, and hurt, well, what would you say now? Agitate that hurt, okay? And probably this was what happened. I said to the mother, take it to the hospital and see, just to check him out.
You had to
Just a
suggest
second,
to the
we
mum
weren't
to
even
take it to
looking
the
at
hospital?
arm. I'm saying to her, I wonder if
dear.
it's measles or chicken pox or something coming on, because the baby had an injection a few days before
Pat, very
that.
quickly, because we're running out of time. I've got to go to the travel.
You know?
Social workers can't win, can they? Because
Yes,
if they jump in,
and
they jump in too early, you phone up, have a pop. If they don't jump in and a kiddie dies,
They have a
social
job-
workers
they have a
social
job
workers
to
should have got
do.
in there earlier and
They
saved
have a
that
job to
child.
do. And secondly, your comment about this Ed Miliband.
Yes, he looks like a
If-
plum, doesn't he?
Okay, look at Mr. Foote.
Yeah.
What was that woman before? There was a female prime
Right,
minister.
yes.
Not Margaret Thatcher. What was her name?
There was never been a female prime minister apart from Margaret Thatcher.
Or deputy, whatever her name is.
Right.
Um,
What about her?
she would have been up for election. And, sometimes you need to be careful of what you say about people. Because
Okay, I've got to end it there. I've got no idea. Michael Foot didn't look like a prime minister. Dear, but social workers can't win. If they go in too early, blooming social workers. If they don't go in and a child dies, blooming social workers. 03453 009956. It's BBC WM 95.6. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Liz.
Thank you, Ian. The M6 going south is rather heavy in the roadworks around junction 10. That's the bottom end of the roadworks. The A454 exit to Wolverhampton and Walsall. You'll find that further up is still quite busy around junction 13 to 12. There was a problem with the exit Slit Road closed by Stafford Services, which are much further along. But certainly 13 to 12 has been quite busy as well at the top end of the roadworks towards the A5. Seems to have picked up for the moment, but it sort of fits and starts around there. We're getting word that the traffic lights aren't working in the Hall Green area of Birmingham on the A34 at Solihull Lane, right on the roundabout. Thank you for your updates on that. It's slow at the Burnt Tree traffic lights in Dudley on all approaches, the A461, the A4123. In the centre of Birmingham, there's about a dozen road closures in the Hurst Street area, so including Hurst Street, Kent Street, Bromsgrove Street, Ing Street and Skinner Lane and Goode Street North, all because of Birmingham Pride Festival taking place this weekend, today and tomorrow. And today, additionally, there's extra road closures around the Middleway, parts of the Queensway in the city centre. The parade gets underway from Victoria Square at midday. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
Celebrate the faces, voices, music and dance of Birmingham and the Black Country. Brum moves.
This is our town.
It's like a community around here.
Oh, they're lovely we am living.
Really a nice place to be.
Watch the Brum Moves video online now at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM
95.6.
Got some texts and emails. Let me do these. Kim in West Brom says, Ian, it starts like this. You, Ian, whatever. That's a great start. Are the most argumentative, big-headed person on WM. All the others are nice. Why can't you be pleasant with people like Michelle and Molly? Can you hear yourself? I don't know, but I also bet you're ugly. If I did a nice show, it's not true. Well, it is true. I used to be really ugly. I think I've grown into my face. If you see pictures of me in my 20s and my early 30s, I looked horrible. Horrible. I had such low self-esteem. As I get old, I'm going to be a really attractive 65-year-old. I'm building up to it very, very slowly. Very astute of you, Kim. Well spotted. David has emailed in. The parents should have a say in who looks after their children, whether they're gay or not. Look at the mess the councillors made with the kids who were abused and murdered. Well, I don't think they should. I don't think parents should. If their kids are up for adoption, then the implication is either those parents don't want to look after the kids, can't look after the kids, or are completely unable to be parents. So should they get a say in who adopts? I don't think they should. They've kind of said, I don't want to look after this kid, or, for whatever reason, I can't look after this kid, so they shouldn't get a say in who adopts, should they? Have I got that wildly wrong? 03453 009956. Nick's in Northampton. Morning, Nick.
Hello, Ian.
Nick, what would you like to say?
Ian, Ed Miliband and everything else. I don't do personality politics. I rather do issues. But I really would like to know what the definition is of what a Prime Minister looks like. To me, it's a bit like saying, what should a radio presenter looks like? As you know, in your profession, you people come in all shapes and sizes.
It's completely different, Nick.
What does a look like?
Nick,
what does a doctor look like?
Well,
to me,
Nick,
I think
hello?
how a political leader or an aspiring Prime Minister comes over largely depends on the volatility and the substance of what their policies are.
Okay. Can I come in?
Yep.
Okay. Your comparison with a radio presenter, as you know, Nick, as you know, because you're cleverer than that, is slightly disingenuous. There's no connection at all. Radio presenter, you don't always see their face. The radio presenter, it's down to the voice. It's down, have they got a voice I like listening to, yes or no, is the first thing. Secondly, it's what are they saying. The way they look is irrelevant.
Okay, that was a big of a vague
That was,
analogy,
well, it was a wrong one, but I'll give but fair play, I'll let you off. But
as I was saying, I think how a political leader, when an aspiring Prime Minister comes over, largely depends on his policies and everything else. And I think this is the problem with Ed Miliband and the problem with a lot of Labour people today, is they're not actually attacking the Tories on anything substantial. They're just merely trying to reform what they actually agreed with anyway when they were in government. The Tories are merely doing a lot of what Labour did.
It's an interesting opinion, but it's old-fashioned. I'll tell you why. It is completely old-fashioned. What does a Prime Minister look like? I couldn't put it into words, but I could look at a row of 10 men and point out the people that I think would do better than Ed Miliband. If you go back to, what year was it, 62? I'm not sure. There was a big presidential debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, right? Yeah. The old-fashioned people with your opinion who listened on the radio, said that Richard Nixon won the debate because they weren't looking at him. The people that watched the debate on television said that John F. Kennedy won because of the way he looked, the way he conducted himself, the fact that he wasn't sweating and looking nervous and looking anxious. And since then, as television, as print media, as rolling news, as the internet has come more to the forefront, rightly or wrongly, we judge our politicians on what they look like. And Ed Miliband doesn't look like a Prime Minister.
Well,
and I can't express it any more than that.
This a lot. This aspect. You've obviously researched it, but...
No, I've not done any research. I've just thought about it in my house.
That is his problem, Ed Miliband, because people can't see it. It's not what he looks like or how he speaks. It's what he actually says politically, and people can't distinguish. And that is why people like UKIP, in UKIP, Farage and everything, come across well to people, because at least they seem to be saying something distinctive, even though Labour isn't, whether they agree with it or not.
So they simply have to say something distinctive to come across.
Distinctively different from what the...
that's not true.
The opposition is to challenge the Tories,
Nick, that's not true, is it? Because the Green Party are saying something distinctively different. The BNP, remember those guys?
Well, that's debatable.
The BNP are saying something distinctively different, but they're not getting votes. There's got to be more to it than just the policies.
No, it is. I think in politics, it's the policies that dictates the personality.
You said it's being distinctively different. I've just given you two parties that are distinctively different, and they're doing really badly. Well, it's not debatable. The BNP and the Greens are distinctively different from the other parties. That's not debatable. That's a fact.
The Greens are a capitalist party. The only difference between the Greens is they've got more emphasis on environmental issues.
Okay, what about
when it comes to the crunch, they've got to make things profitable.
What about the BNP?
The BNP are a capitalist policy.
Well, hang on. So are UKIP.
UKIP, a party.
UKIP are a capitalist party. We're not, but they're still saying different things. The BNP are saying different things, but they're not getting the vote. So your argument is wrong.
They're not different at all. At the end of the day, they're just trying to achieve the same ends, make the system profitable with certain emphasis.
Well, that's what UKIP is doing. That's what UKIP is doing, Nick. It's exactly what UKIP is doing.
All UKIP are just a glorified Tory pressure group who like to pick on immigrants and the EU as a scapegoat for failed Tory policy.
But you've just said that the reason UKIP are doing so well is because they are saying things that are slightly different. And now you're saying, well, hang on, they're just saying what the Tories say.
because it sounds different to many apathetic voters.
So does what the BNP is saying.
Who believe that it is a simple reason, immigration and EU a simple scale.
But
that's why
Nick,
it becomes...
You can't have that both ways, because that's what
No,
the BNP...
I haven't got it both ways.
No,
you know exactly what I'm saying.
No, I don't think you know what you're saying, Nick, because the
I
BNP...
know what I'm saying.
You're saying the reason UKIP are doing so well is because they have different... that they are saying different things to the other parties. Well, the BNP are saying different things to the other parties, and they're not doing well. So that can't be the reason.
They're saying things about the same issue. That's all I'm saying. Not on radical alternative policies. There's no difference between UKIP, the BNP and the Tories. They've just got emphasis on nationalism.
Nick, I'm going to let you go because I'm getting confused, and I think you are as well. Go and have a think and come back fully refreshed and rearmed, if you would. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. Why do you think Ed Miliband is getting a drubbing in the papers today? And he's failed to set the world of politics alight. We're supposedly entering a four-party political phase. I don't think we are. I would imagine that after the election in 2015, UKIP will kind of, quietly disappear. I could be completely wrong. I imagine that's what will happen. Do you remember 3 years ago when the BNPs were a big force? 4 years ago. Yeah, the BNP, what is that now? They had that fellow, who was the fella from the BNP? Griffin, on Question Time, and this was going to be a turning point for far-right politics. It wasn't. It was a peak, and then it was all downhill from there. I imagine UKIP will have a similar trajectory. I could be completely wrong on that. But why is Ed Miliband failing? It is because it's the way he looks and the way he sounds, isn't it? Really, what does a prime minister look like? I couldn't put it into words, but I could see someone and go, "Yeah, he looks like a prime minister." You see someone and go, "Yeah, he looks like a doctor." 03453 009956. Marie's in Cosley. Morning, Marie.
Morning.
I'm having fun today. Are you? It's good, isn't it?
It was fun listening to you.
Well,
You're
bless
very
you.
naughty.
You're very kind. What do you want to say?
Oh, well, I've got to agree with you. I've been a Labour voter all my life, and I still will be. But the man just doesn't inspire me to even listen to what he has to say.
Marie, what on earth is going on in the background?
Oh, it's the parrot. I'm very sorry. It's very noisy.
What's the parrot's name?
Ruby.
Ruby. Does Ruby speak?
Yes, he's speaking now.
What's Ruby saying?
A load of garbage.
Oh,
Hello, Ruby, mostly.
Oh, does Ruby swear?
Very rarely.
Oh, blimey. Oh, let's hover over other faders just in case we get a potty-mouthed parrot.
I've moved away.
Good. It's going insane in there.
No, that's just a morning routine.
If you put a curtain over its cage, does it fall asleep?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay. Right. Hello. Anyway, Marie, go on. Yes, you're not inspired by Miliband.
No, not at all. And it's wrong, but it's right, but it's true. And I think years ago you didn't see politicians on the television all the time. You had to listen to what they were saying. But as soon as I look at him, all I can think of is Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, there is that element about him, and he doesn't look very stately. There was that footage. Shut that flipping bird up!
I can't. I wish I could.
Do you live with that bird?
Yes.
Is it like that all the time?
No, just after a couple of hours of this, and then she'll have a rest, and then start again.
Oh, but that's incredible. I've completely lost my train of thought. You must be going bonkers in there.
Ed Miliband, I'm used to it now.
Anyway, I can't think what I was saying, but I agree with you 100%, Marie. I've never had such a good call.
I agree with you. That's why I phoned you.
Marie, thank you very much indeed. I completely lost track. How could you function in a house like that? Noisy pets, please. 03453 009956. My pets, I say my pets are quiet. Oh, something horrific happened in the week. I've got a cat and a rabbit. Okay, they're quite quiet pets. My cat, she's getting on a bit. She's 15. She's an old lady. I love her. Velvet. Didn't name her that. I got her when she was 2. I adopted her. And the other morning, I get up at 4 o'clock every morning for another life I lead. But the other morning, at 2:30 at night, I was woken up by what I thought was one of my boys going, "Dad! Dad! Dad!" I thought it was one of my boys. So I got up and went out. It wasn't. It was my cat going, "Dad!" And she was on the stairs, and we got a stair gate, okay, so the kids don't get downstairs. And I opened the stair gate, and the cat was there. And there was something in the corner. It was dark. Something was in the corner. I thought, she's going to kill the mouse. Oh, she's killed a flipping mouse. So I got my phone out and used it as a torch and shone it on them. And there was a mouse there, dead mouse. It's like, oh, Velvet, why have you got to bring a dead mouse into the house? I went to pick it up. The mouse moved. It was not dead. She hadn't killed it. And so I'm stood there, 2:30 in the morning, in my pants. There's an image for you. Saying to my cat, a nice image, saying to my cat, I'm stood there going, Velvet, kill it. Kill the mouse. Finish the job off. And I'm kind of shoving her towards the cat, and she's kind of like, well, I've had my fun. I don't want to do any more now. What more do I need to do? So I shut the stair gate. I went back to bed. Couldn't sleep. I was scared of a half-dead mouse and a cat with a conscience. When I got up at 4, I walked slowly past where the mouse had been. There was no mouse. The mouse had disappeared. Horrible. So I'm saying I've got quiet pets. I haven't actually. I've got quite noisy pets. Gary, Helen, stay there. I will come to you in a second. I want to carry on talking about Ed Miliband and why I think he's not taken the political world by storm. He has come under fire a lot the last couple of days after the party did less well than expected in the local elections. Be interesting to see how well he does, or how well Labour does in the European elections, Sunday night, Monday morning. Labour MP Simon Danchuk admitted voters were being turned off by Mr Miliband. He said, quotes, I'm not going to pretend that Ed Miliband is an issue, as an issue doesn't come up on the doorstep. Of course it does. Why do you think he's failed to set the political world by alight? I think it's because, and I'm not saying this is right, it's the way he looks, it's the way he sounds. John McTernan is a commentator and political strategist who was political secretary to Tony Blair. Good morning to you, John.
Morning.
Why do you think Ed Miliband, well, he's struggling, isn't he?
Well, he's not. If you look at Birmingham, look at London, UKIP were decisively rejected in the growing parts of Britain, the multicultural, diverse parts of Britain. The West Midlands is the crucible of our future in terms of manufacturing. London is the crucible of our future in terms of being a global capital. There, Ed Miliband does very, very well. I think what we've seen this week from some parts of the press is actually bullying, plain and simple.
In what respect, bullying?
I think that if you take a camera and keep on taking photographs of people, you can make anybody look a bit odd.
Yes, that's true.
And then you choose the one that's the picture and you use it, and then you use it to attack him. And in reality, what the press should be doing is exposing where the image doesn't fit the reality. Now, Ed wasn't pretending to be an ordinary bloke by eating a bacon sandwich. He's eaten one before. He'll eat one in the future.
He's Jewish, isn't he?
Sorry?
He's Jewish, isn't he?
He's a secular Jew.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
His own brother describes himself, David describes himself as a rootless cosmopolitan. I think they are way beyond being practicing Jews.
Okay. But it's not just the bacon butty photograph, is it? There's and I can't put this into words, John. I can't. It's just something that I feel. David Cameron looks like a Prime Minister. John Major looks like a Prime Minister. Ed Miliband looks like, with the greatest respect, a bit geeky.
Well, I think that John Major didn't look like a Prime Minister until he became Prime Minister.
That's interesting.
And I think that the office sometimes makes you.
Yeah,
Margaret Thatcher didn't look like a Prime Minister until she became Prime Minister, and then, wow, did she look like a Prime Minister. So I think it's the Camerons or the Blairs who look the part before they get the job, who are the exception in the last 20 or 30 years in Britain. Jim Callaghan, Ted Heath, you can go through them. The office makes them. It's quite different from the presidential selection.
But with Callaghan and Heath, of course, it was a different world where we didn't have rolling Sky News. We didn't have pictures popping up on our mobile phones every 3 minutes. And I'm not saying it's right that judgments are made on what people look like. Of course, it's not right. We should be listening to what they are saying. But it is. Who was it? It was Ian Duncan Smith and William Hague. Both went nowhere as leaders because they didn't look and sound prime ministerial.
There's a bit of that, and Hague now looks much more like a leader than he did when he was the leader of his own party. But it's also fair to say that Hague and IDS were rejected, as Michael Howard was, because they had the wrong policies. And the question is Ed saying things that people don't want to hear, or is he saying things they connect to? And his policy on rent reform, longer leases, more stability for families, that's a good one. Policy on getting into your GP within 48 hours, a really important one. Policy on energy freeze. All of those are they're connecting issues. They actually say there's a problem, here's a solution. And I think in the end you have to say, are people going to vote for somebody on the basis of what they think they look like, or are they going to vote for somebody because they want a different kind of Britain? And that's really what the debate's about. Look,
Labour did do badly in the local elections. If you consider the fact that generally, when there's an unpopular government, there is normally a protest vote to the other party, and Labour didn't get that, did they?
Well, Labour did better this year, a year out from the general election, than the Tories did in 2009, actually. So, so Labour has done well. Labour in London picked up places like Redbridge, a little bit of Essex in London, and the seat there, Ilford North, is the 83rd on Labour's target list. So Labour's winning in the areas it needs to win to win the next election. And for the Tories, if I was a Tory strategist, I'd be in despair. I couldn't name a single Labour seat that the Tories could make a target for them. And they didn't win a majority at the last election. They're still far from a majority. So I think you have to admit, we're in four-party politics, and that makes it quite an odd picture. So you get a London or a Birmingham with UKIP can't win for all money. In the north, UKIP have replaced the Tories as a second party. But the Tories were never going to win Rotherham any more than UKIP are going to win Rotherham. Some white working class, blue-collar voters have defected from Labour to UKIP. But when you look at the polling, only 1 in 7 of the voters for UKIP came from Labour. Half of them came from the Tories. So I think you can say four-party politics mixes it up, but Labour are on track. Has Labour got to work harder to win? Of course they have. But I think there's something about the coverage of Ed Miliband during this week that made me feel a bit queasy. Just made me feel a bit sort of like a line was crossed, and attack the man if you disagree with his policies. But don't attack him and mock him. And really...
Is that a line that's been crossed, though? Because that has been around for a while. Cartoons of party leaders, with horns or grotesque pictures. That's been around for centuries. Actually, we go back to Punch magazine.
Oh, look, I think if you got upset about cartoonists, you're in the wrong profession. If you're a politician, right? They make fun, but the best cartoonists make a point at the same time as making the cartoon, as making you laugh. And every politician I know has got quite a large collection of cartoons that have been drawn of them, because they understand.
Oh, do they like it?
Oh, they love it.
Oh, that's funny.
They totally love it, because it's a form of attention. Politicians like attention, but I think there is something that's unfair. And look, Ed's got to handle the world he lives in. One thing he's been doing for the last year, and he'll do for the next year, is he's been going out into town centres, like John Major, with a soapbox, talking to people. And I've always thought there was an analogy between Ed and Major, which is that I reckon if John Major had met every single voter in the country, he'd have had a better chance of beating Tony Blair, because he was charismatic one-to-one, didn't fully come across. And Ed has got physical presence. He's got charisma.
Oh, he's a big lad, isn't he?
He's taller than his brother.
Yeah.
Like he's the big Miliband, and it's quite. I think the strategy of the Labour Party of taking him out and about repeatedly is a really good one and an important one, because in the end, a caricature of you, whether it's a cartoon or a horrible photograph of you, only works if it's exaggerating a real thing about you, and it only works if the public don't have another view of you.
John, we've got to end it there. Thank you very much. John McTernan, commentator, political strategist, who was political secretary to Tony Blair. He thinks that some of the coverage, possibly some of the coverage we're doing on the show today, is akin to bullying. Well, what do you think about that? 03453 00 9956.
This Saturday from 2, we're at the Bankses with the England Under-19s. We'll preview the Champions League final with David Ginola, plus there's golf, cricket, Heineken Cup rugby and Peter Andre.
BBC WM
95.6.
Also keen to get your thoughts on the Slovakian couple who two of their children are being taken away from them by a court order. They're being adopted by, shock horror, hold the front page, a gay couple? Wowzers! Is it so bad? Is it so bad for gays to adopt? That's one thing. I mean, that's kind of the obvious question, isn't it? Really? And I've thought about this a lot, and I don't think it is. As long as the child is loved, That's all that's important, isn't it? It's loved and provided for. I don't mean it's got an Xbox, it's got PS4. I mean it's got... what's your beef, Producer Joe? I'm really windy pops today. Really windy pops. It's this minty biscuit I've got. That's what's doing it. I've been given a minty biscuit. It's made me a little bit windy pops. They'll only notice if they're listening on DAB. If they're just listening in the car, they won't pick it up. They won't hear it at all. 03453 009956. Helen's in Stafford. Morning, Helen.
Good morning, Lee.
It's Iain. I'm sorry for...
Yes, I know, but I thought to bring up your surname.
Oh, you're being formal. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Formal. I apologise for belching in your ear.
That's okay. I have 4 children who do it all the time.
Oh, man. How old are your kids?
17, nearly 16, 13 and 11.
Oh, flipping heck. Have you worked out what's doing it now and you've stopped?
Yeah.
Good. What's it like having teenagers? My boys are 4 and 2, and I am dreading the day I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old living in my house.
I take a break and I'd adopt them.
Oh, really? Just put them out?
Yeah,
put them out there. Fine. Okay, right, they're done. We'll start filling in the forms now. What would you like to say?
Right, the lady who came on who was talking about her granddaughter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, with which one was that? The broken arm one? No.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a young girl. She broke her arm, but no one knew about it. Then she broke her arm again. The mum didn't realise. She took them to A&E, and they went, "Oh, there are 2 breaks here. What's going on?"
Yeah. I mean, with having 4 children, you know when your child's in pain, when you're changing a nappy or you're putting their clothes on. You know that child is in pain because it will wince. And you go, oh, is that okay? Obviously, they can't converse with you. Move the arm, or you touch somewhere where it hurts. I mean, I've got 4, and I know when my kids are in pain. It's not just a feeding cry or a nappy cry or a sleeping cry. You know when it's a pain cry. And when she said, what really got me, and I've had to stop the car, and I have pulled up.
Oh, good.
What really got me was when she said that no one knew anything about it. And her daughter, who had had the children, was in her 30s.
Why did that upset you so much?
Because I'm knocking the door of 50.
Oh,
I knew instantly when my children needed a feed. I knew instantly what cries they were. You as a father, you will still know that. You will still know if your child falls over or she can't say that it's just the child just fell over at nursery or in the park. They do come up to you. A 1-year-old does not fall over in the park. A 1-year-old does not fall over at nursery.
I'm going silent because I'm trying to remember what my boys were like at 1, and I think the eldest was sort of walking. The youngest wasn't walking. I don't think. I can't remember.
Yeah, but you know instantly if your child is in need.
It's a different cry, isn't it? Which you learn to understand. Right, that's hungry. That he just wants a cuddle. Oh, that one is in pain.
Yeah, and they come up to you and go, "Oh, I just want you." You know what that means. So her daughter, for as much as a grandmother, when she said, "Okay, take the child to A&E," the mother should know that.
But with our first boy, not so much with the second, because the second one you kind of just leave it in the corner and let it get on with it. And goodness knows what you do with the 4th one, Helen. You probably hardly ever see it. But with the youngest one, the eldest one,
you stick it in a cupboard under the stairs.
Beautiful. The eldest one, we were on the phone to whatever it was called then, NHS Direct, pretty much every other week. If whatever, he's making this noise. Oh, his skin's gone a bit funny. Well, he's got spots on his face. Whatever. We were on the phone too much, and they were fantastic. They said, "No, don't worry, we don't mind you calling." He's probably having a reaction to the milk, or he probably needs, or when the midwives, whatever they're called, the nurses come around. What's this? What's this? We were really over cautious with the first one, and if the kid was crying and wouldn't stop crying, we'd take it to the doctors or we'd go to A&E.
Absolutely. So why doesn't a parent, we all love our children within our whole bodies and souls, we love our children. But if you've got a child who is crying, moaning, You know, my kids now, even now, will say, "Oh, my knee's hurting," or "Oh, my hip's hurting," and I go, "Yeah, okay, it was better before you married." But I'm still in the back of my head. That's my line at the minute. It was best before you married.
Yeah.
But the line in the back of my head is, okay, I will keep looking at it, because kids do, when they get older, and you will know this, they will go, "Oh, I've got a cold, I can't go to..." No, it's all right. If you're poorly, then they'll send you home.
Helen, thank you. We're going to move on because I've got to go to the travel. Thank you very much. 03453 009956. It's BBC WM 95.6. Let's get the travel news now with Liz Saul.
Iain, thank you very much. It's looking rather congested on the M5 going south. Busy in the roadworks 485 from the M42 to the Droitwich exit, the A38. The M6 is still a struggle around junction 10 going south, the bottom end of the roadworks. Congestion now back to 11. The roadworks, of course, continue both ways, 13 to 10 in either direction. But as I say, it's 11 to 10 that's looking the most slow at the moment. It's going to take you about 30 minutes to get through that stretch. In the Hall Green area, Birmingham, on Stratford Road, the A34 in junction with Solihull Lane. The traffic lights are apparently not working, so be a bit careful around there. As you head to Taunton, the A449 is looking congested. At the A450, the traffic lights there causing some queues. In the centre of Birmingham, there's about a dozen road closures in the Hurst Street area, including Hurst Street itself. It's because of the Birmingham Pride Festival taking place this weekend, today and tomorrow. Thousands of people expected, so a lot of extra traffic in the city centre. And there's a parade today, meaning additional road closures. Cars Lane and a couple of sections of the Queensway shut between 11:30 and 2. This parade getting underway from Victoria Square at midday. If you can update us, 08453 002288.
The voice of Birmingham in the Black Country.
BBC WM
95.6.
We're all over the shop today. We're talking about Ed Miliband, why he's not very successful. I've got a couple of texts which I shall read out about that in a second. We're also talking about adoption. A Slovakian couple, a Roman Catholic family, they've had two of their kids kind of taken off them by social services, and they're being adopted by a gay couple. A gay couple! Oh, no! Is that the worst thing that could happen? Well, as long as the kids are brought up well and loved and are protected, that's all that matters, isn't it? 03453 009956. Is it important for children who are adopted to stay within their own ethnicity, their own religious background, and should gay people adopt? Maria's in the city centre. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning.
Maria, what would you like to say?
My parents split up a few years ago.
Yeah.
And my dad came out as gay, and I was just listening to the show, and I just thought I'd give my opinion on it. And I think that it's absolutely fine for your parents to be gay as long as they love you.
Can I ask you a couple of personal questions, Maria?
Yeah, of course.
How old are you now?
I'm 14.
You're 14. And how old were you when your dad came out?
7.
You were 7. And I'm guessing, I could be wrong, that at 7 he didn't come out and say to you that he was gay, or did he?
Yeah, he did.
And did you know what that meant?
Slightly. I got explained to, but I accepted it, and I was very happy for him.
How did you... Do you know how your mum reacted? Is your mum kind of cool with it, or not?
My mum's fine with it, really.
And do you feel, Maria, any different towards your dad because he's gay?
No, he's my dad, and he always will be my dad.
Mm.
He's the same person.
Has he got a partner now?
Yeah.
And how do you get on with him?
I love him to bits.
Mm.
He's just like a second dad to me.
Are you not worried, Maria, that because of your dad's influence on you, you might grow up to be gay? This is what some of the people have suggested earlier on, for those who've just tuned in.
Yeah, but no, it's just our own choices, really.
Mm. And another argument I hear about, and it's a slightly different situation for you because you know your mum is. I'm assuming your mum's straight and it's just your dad's gay. One of the arguments against having gay adoptive parents is that kids will bully the adopted children at school. Have you had any of that? Have you had any teasing or bullying from anybody at school?
No, not really. All I always stick to is as long as you're loved, it doesn't really matter whether your parents are straight or gay.
Mm.
Yeah,
And what
not
do you,
really.
and what do you think about the subject that we're talking about specifically, about a gay couple, men or women, adopting a child? Do you see any problem with that?
No, I don't. No, I think it's quite normal, to be quite fair, because, like, no matter who your parents are, they will still be your parents, and as long as they love you, then it's all absolutely fine.
Maria, I really appreciate your call this morning. I think you will have, pun intended, set a lot of people straight on this situation and given them something to think about.
Fabulous.
Maria, thank you very much indeed. She's 14. Her dad came out as gay at the age of 7. Well, she was the age of 7. He wasn't. That would have been... Whoa. 03453 009956 hasn't affected her adversely. It's not made her think that she might be gay, and she's done all right at school. No one's going around going, "Oh, your dad's gay. You got a gay dad." Ugh. There's none of that going on. Or if there is, she's cool with it. You know, she can get on with it. Her dad and his partner love her. And I suppose that's the only important thing, isn't it? That's what matters. Cliff's in Tipton. Morning, Cliff.
Good morning, Ian.
Cliff,
You've got a very interesting programme today.
The implication being it's not normally that interesting.
It's like you're the sweet counter on old Woolworths. Mix and match.
Oh, man, the pick and mix. I used to love the pick and mix. When I go to the pictures, which isn't very often, I still get the pick and mix. And I was so proud. You get this big bucket, and I filled it up to the top. Cost 16 quid, right? And the girl behind the counter went, "Oh my God, this is the most expensive, biggest pick and mix I've ever seen in my life." And I was 38 at the time, and I went, yes. I felt very proud of myself.
How do you keep your figure?
I don't. You've not seen me standing up on television for a long, long time, and there's a good reason for that, Cliff. There's a very good reason.
Woolworths is still active in Australia because the English Woolworths was a completely different concern.
Really?
Yes. My mate in Australia sometimes sends me the odd flyer, from their local...
And does it look like Does it look like a proper Woolworths, or does it look different?
Well, the Aussies are completely stranger to us, aren't they? They have odd ways. But yeah, it's like our Woolworths, yes.
I used to like going in... This is how old I am. I used to like going into Woolworths and buying the singles. You get the singles in there.
Yes.
They'd have the top 50 in there. And if you couldn't get it in our price, then they'd have it in Woolworths.
I can remember when Woolworths in West Bromwich used to sell 78s.
Oh, blimey.
And the broken biscuit counter.
Oh, broken biscuits!
Oh.
Can you buy those anymore? You used to be able to get bags of broken biscuits.
It all depends on which shop you go to if they haven't handled the other biscuits right. Anyway.
No, hang on a second, because forget the rest of the show. We're talking now. We're having a chat like we're doing.
Oh, right, okay.
I found an amazing thing the other day that belonged to my mum and dad, right? And I found it, and it's wonderful. And it's a little 6-inch record, a black vinyl record that my mum and dad made in one of those recording booths. Do you remember those?
Yes.
Because I don't. There was in the 60s, and this was 1970, because my sister had just been born. People didn't have cassette recorders or tape recorders, so they had these booths, and they were like little photo booths, apparently. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you go in, you put in a shilling or sixpence or whatever, and you would record a little record, and you come out and you'd have a little record. And I found this, and my dad's passed away, and my mum's not very well, and I was able to... I got it on the computer, and I sent it to all my family. And it's just the most amazing kind of thing, memory to have of my parents. It's great. And I don't know why... If anybody has been in one of those little recording booths and has got a record, do 03453 009956. I want to see those things brought back.
Well, two interesting facts about that recording is that the first recording that Barbara Streisand made was one of those.
Really?
Yes.
Fantastic.
We've got a copy here on CD somewhere. And the second one is, my mother's been dead 38 years.
Yeah.
Christmas 1974, I made a tape recording of her on open reel tape.
Oh.
And I transferred that onto CD, and I've still got it now.
Cliff, things like that are magical. And I know, in fact, you've just reminded me, I know somewhere I have a cassette, a proper cassette, of my sister, probably about the age of 4, singing songs to my dad. Right, that's my mission this week, is I'm hunting that bad boy down.
I bet you get you the handkerchiefs
out.
Oh,
it's going to make me weep like a baby, Cliff.
Can I just mention Eddie Miliband now?
Then go
on to adoption.
You can take over the rest of the show if you want. I'm going home. I've got
all
a
right,
tape
then
to
I'll-
find.
How much will I get for it?
Well, you'll get exactly what I get, and that is the pleasure of paying the BBC £50 for letting me broadcast.
Well, I was going to say it would be more like 200 quid in your case, wouldn't it?
What, that I pay them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
something like that, Go
Anyway,
on, right, go on,
Ed
get to the point.
Miliband.
Yes.
If you bought Churchill back again, or Clement Attlee, or Harold Macmillan, or Stanley Baldwin, or any of them, they wouldn't get a look in.
No, they wouldn't.
But I think that we live in a very surfacey world that folks' eyes are caught by flashy things. There's no content there.
No.
There's a load of facade, like all these phone companies and energy companies. They spend fortunes on advertising. But when you want them here to do something, we haven't got the time to do that at the moment. And I think that folks should concentrate more on policies, because that's what they seem to be doing with UKIP as regards immigration. But
Cliff, it's interesting you say that, because if you listen to Nigel Farage and the other UKIP speakers, the focus seems to be in, are they racist? And they'll say they're not, and their immigration policies. Have you got any idea what their local council policies were?
I read their last agenda online, but if you ask them, like David Dimbleby asked them, where is your agenda? Oh, we're preparing it.
Yeah. I have no idea what the UKIP local council's policies were, and I've heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, that they didn't really have a lot, and everyone's saying this is a big success for UKIP. UKIP, as far as I'm aware, haven't got a control of a council, so UKIP, they can't put zebra crossing down, they can't change the bin days, they can't do anything.
Well, twice or three times on the other radio, it was on your station, and I think it was Radio 5 Live with Stephen Nolan. Somebody rung in, I support UKIP because I want to get all these immigrants, I want to stop immigration. And I think it was Stephen Nolan said, but what about their other policies? And the chap said, I don't care about those at all. You could be voting Adolf Hitler in.
Yes.
Can I just mention adoption?
Yeah, go on.
Now, I'm a gay man. I haven't adopted anybody because of health reasons and circumstances. But in my working career, I've worked with about 3 or 4 gay men who've been married. One of them had 5 kids. And they didn't abuse them. You see, the problem is that many folks, through want of research or through being intellectually challenged, whatever you have, think or equate gay men with paedophiles. Nothing could be farther from the truth.
There are, and I'm still surprised in 2014 that there are people who do think that gay with children, they're not going to be safe. And also, where has this idea come from that gay men, if they adopt kids, they're going to be at it in front of them the whole time? They'll be the same as any healthy heterosexual couple, and any sexual activities will take place behind closed doors.
I would go so far as to say that many gay folks are more moral, and I know Edgar might be listening to this.
Here we go.
Or that other
are you about to put a cat amongst the pigeons, Cliff?
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
Go on.
We had a cat and a dog once. We had the cat first.
Yeah.
Then we had the dog. Now, the cat didn't start woofing, and the dog didn't start meowing. So I came from a straight family. My dad worked hard. Yeah. My mother worked hard. And I didn't turn out straight.
Gay kids come from straight couples, pretty much. Were you about to say, Cliff, and tell me if I'm putting words into your mouth, that gay people are generally more moral than straight people?
Well, I wouldn't allow a child to look at page 3. I wouldn't smoke in front of a child. I wouldn't keep a child waiting outside a public house with a bottle of lemonade or a semi-alcoholic drink, as I have seen done. I wouldn't see a child here being dragged around a supermarket and smacked round the ear hole. That is not my style. And that is what happens in a lot of straight families. They couldn't care less about the kids. But as soon as something happens to the kids, oh, what are we going to do? Oh, it's an outrage. Yeah, I've seen kids hanging around on the streets. Their mother, in the summer holidays, their mum and dads have said, Here's a quid, go and sod off.
Well, on that bombshell, Cliff. Do you know what? In the 70s, I used to quite like standing outside the pub with a glass of lemonade while my dad was inside with my granddad. Lots to talk about. Michael, Simon, do stay there. We will come to you straight after the news, I promise. So much to talk about. My head is abuzz with ideas. We'll talk more. 03453 009956 is the phone number if you want to give us a call. 81333 WM. This is BBC WM 95.6.
With full commentary of every Warwickshire cricket game this summer, exclusively online. bbc.co.uk/WM.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
It's 11 o'clock. Let's get the latest news now with Nicole Pullman.
The US Coast Guard has called off the search for the missing British sailors after they found the upturned yacht and the life raft. The cheeky Rafiki began taking on water on its way from the Caribbean to the UK just over a week ago. A US Navy swimmer who knocked on the hull failed to find any trace of the men. Albert Davey is the uncle of Steve Warren, one of the missing crew.
It's not the ending we would want, but we've got to gain some small consolation that Steve was doing what he thoroughly enjoyed doing, and I think we've got to cling on to that.
The family of Stephen Phillips, who was murdered in Wolverhampton in March, are asking people to help the police catch his killer. The 54-year-old grandfather was found dead with head injuries at his home on Dudley Road in Blakenhall on the 12th of March. It's believed he was attacked and robbed on a Blakenhall street the previous night and collapsed and died when he got home. He was well known locally as he was always out walking his dog. A Slovakian couple have failed to block the adoption of two of their sons by a gay couple in Kent. The parents, who are of Roma origin and Catholic, said their two young boys would grow up alienated from their family and community. Firefighters have spent the night dampening down at the scene of the large blaze at the Glasgow School of Art. Crews managed to save most of the famous Charles René Mackintosh building and its artworks. The Culture Secretary, Fiona Hislop, says it's a relief.
Quite a remarkable job by the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service. They've released information saying they think that 90% of the building has been saved and up to 70% of the content. So they worked tirelessly to try and protect this iconic building, so important to Scotland but so important to the world.
Sport, and just weeks into the close season, there's international football at the Banks's Stadium this afternoon. The England under-19s take on Montenegro, kick-off 3 o'clock. Scotland and Ukraine are also playing in the competition, but only the top team will go through to the finals in Hungary in July. The former Villa and Blues defender Noel Blake is the England coach, and he's fully enjoying his role in the international setup.
Any sort of people or person who work with development in any way, shape or form, whether it's in education or what have you, when you see someone progresses and you've had a little sort of input in their development, of course it's rewarding. So the plan for me really now is to get this crop through, help to get some of these boys into Gareth under 21s, 80, 20s next year, and then hopefully in the long term into the senior squad.
The weather, showers or longer spells of rain today, some of which will be heavy and thundery. The afternoon's top temperature around 15 Celsius, 59 Fahrenheit. The showers will die out this evening and the temperatures will go no lower than 8 Celsius, 46 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The Voice. The Voice.
The Voice.
The Voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. Lots to talk about. We can carry on talking about gay couples adopting. We can carry on talking about Ed Miliband looking like a plum. And that is... He looks like a bit of a spanner, doesn't he? And that's why he's not done so well. Yes, of course, we should be listening to the policies, but we don't, do we? We make judgments on what people look and sound like. And also in this hour... Oh, I've got a real pet hate. I've got many pet hates. Many pet hates. But the one that... There was a big story in the papers this week, OK, that 60% more people quit smoking using e-cigarettes. But that's nonsense, isn't it? Because hey, guess what, guys? You've not quit smoking. You're still smoking. Yeah. By smoking an e-cigarette, you are still smoking. Yes, you're not taking in all the tar and all of the nasty bits and pieces like that, but you're still addicted to nicotine. So you've not quit smoking. I was a smoker. I gave up 9.5 years ago. Do you know how I did it? I stopped smoking. I stopped. I did it the Alan Carr way. Not the gay comedian, the fellow, the book, who wrote the book. I read his book, I smoked a load of tabs, I stopped smoking, I haven't smoked since. Beautiful, beautiful. And there's something so smug about, I call them vapists. There's a real smugness when you're in a restaurant or a cinema or at a concert and they're puffing away and blowing out of their vapour. I'm allowed to do this here, it's not a cigarette. You think it's a cigarette, it's not a cigarette. Oh, they get right on my nerves. 03453 009956 is the phone number.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453 009956.
BBC WM 95.6.
Oh, I hope we get Michael back. I was talking as well about those record booths. I'll go into that in a second. Simon's in Northfield. Morning, Simon.
Hello.
Simon, what would you like to say?
About this gay adoption, it's a very difficult issue, but if you had two sets of parents, and one was gay.
Oh, yeah, go on. Sorry, say that again, because we lost you for a second. One was gay and one was straight.
One was straight.
Yeah.
You would obviously place the child with the straight couple.
Why?
Because I don't understand how can gay people have a maternal instinct? Because their very nature, their raison d'etre of life is to reject life, to reject women. Women to make children.
Okay, what about, lesbians are women, I think.
Yeah, but if they reject men,
yeah,
they reject life.
What do you mean they reject? What do you mean they reject?
How can they have a maternal instinct?
I don't understand what you mean by rejecting life.
If he rejects the creation of life, which is a man and woman getting together,
yeah,
then how they don't actually want any children to be born because they're gay?
No, that's not the. I don't know where you read that. That's not the gay manifesto. We don't want any children to be born. A gay man.
No, that's what their life is. That's their reason. That is what they are.
To stop children being born. That's their raison d'etre.
Because they're gay, they cannot create children and will not create children.
They cannot cannot create children within that relationship. Yes. Okay. Carry on.
How can they have a maternal instinct? Their view of life. My view of life is I'll do what my mum and dad done. I'll have children and I'll bring them up and I'll carry on the way how life is.
Yes.
Like your mum and dad done and showed you their example.
Well, my mum and dad, with the greatest of respect to my dad, didn't necessarily show me the best way to grow up as a man. He was off having it off with all over the place and fathering children everywhere. So, they were a heterosexual couple, and he set, with the greatest respect to him, may he rest in peace, he set a terrible example of how to be a dad and how to be a man.
Yeah. If he was gay, you would not exist. That's the point. I mean, that 14-year-old girl that you had on.
Yeah.
She's just deluded because if he's...
Well, hang on, Simon, with the greatest respect, she's not here to defend herself, and I'm not going to have you having a pop at a 14-year-old girl. Just temper your language a little bit. Why do you think she is misguided?
Well, if her dad followed his true heart, as it were, she wouldn't exist, would she? Because
I would imagine, without knowing the whole situation, I'm making big assumptions, but I would imagine he felt he was unable, for whatever reason, to come out as a gay man, and he lived the life of a heterosexual. This happens quite a lot. He lived the life of a heterosexual, and at some point was either brave enough or in enough pain to say, actually, I am living a lie. Yeah, it would have been better if he did that a long, long time ago, but he was unable to, and he was either in so much pain or reached a point of such confidence. He said, actually, I have to be true to myself. I am gay.
So what's the purpose for the rest of his life now?
The purpose of the rest of his life is to be a good dad to his 14-year-old and to be in a healthy, loving relationship with his partner.
But being
and to
gay,
be a productive member of society. What do you mean? What's the purpose of his life?
Being gay, unfortunately, you just live and you die.
Right.
You're not really showing your children.
What about couples that are unable to have children? What's the point in their lives? Those losers.
Well, that was a medical problem with them, but to be gay.
But they've got no purpose. If they can't have children for whatever reason, then why would they've got no purpose to live? They've got no purpose to be together, according to you. What about couples that choose not to have children? What's the point in their lonely, sad lives?
All I'm saying is that gay people shouldn't adopt children because they've got no right to, because their reason for having children is probably some kind of selfish reason.
Can I let you into a secret? Can I let you into a secret? Everybody who has children is doing it for selfish reasons. Is that right? Producer Joe's nodding. She's got a kid. I've got 2 boys. My wife and I had boys for selfish reasons because we wanted to have children. Everybody who has kids does it for a selfish reason. Discuss.
Yeah. So what are you saying?
I'm saying that you're saying that gays only want children for a selfish reason. Yeah. I'm saying that everybody that has children does it for a selfish reason.
Well, I don't think that everyone thinks like you.
Yeah, they do. They do. If everyone's honest, people have children for. What other reason is there for having children? Hey, I want to make the world a better place. Let's have more. Let's have kids. It's not. It's because. Do you want kids? Yeah, I want kids. Shall we have kids? That's selfish. Natural. It's selfish.
It's natural. That's why.
There are more children who want to be fostered and adopted than there are people prepared to foster and adopt. So if there's a gay couple that wants to foster or adopt, should we say no to them?
Yeah, but why do they want? If they reject men and women, respectively, if they're gay or lesbian, why do they want children? Why don't they become normal? Why don't they become heterosexual?
Why don't they become what? Sorry, normal.
Yeah.
Are you worried that the gay men and gay women might, for want of a better phrase, fiddle with the children? Is that what worries you?
Not particularly, but why do they want children if they're gay? I just don't understand it.
Because they still, despite the fact they don't find members of the opposite sex attractive, some of them still have a maternal or a paternal instinct.
That's not true.
No, it's true, Simon. It's true. You saying it's not true? It's true. The other week, I saw this lesbian couple, right? Yeah. And they got a little baby, and they had the baby through artificial insemination, and they were both so in love with this baby, and it was a gorgeous baby. Oh, it was wonderful. You forget how tiny they are at that age, and it was beautiful to see because that baby is going to be loved.
It shouldn't be allowed. They shouldn't be allowed to have IVF. It's just completely stupid.
Simon, stay there. Stacey's heading to Devon. Morning, Stacey.
Hello, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Stacey. What would you like to say to Simon?
I'm sorry, that is completely and utterly wrong what you've just said. You cannot help who you fall in love with.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be allowed to have...
I'm straight. I've been to college with gay people. Some of my friends, their parents are gay. You can't help who you fall in love with. It's not a choice.
You can't be a parent. You can't
yes,
be
you
a parent.
can be a parent.
You
Anyone
can't
can
be
be
a parent and be gay.
Yes, you can.
Listen to me. No, you listen. If they followed their true instinct...
Don't talk to me like that. I'll soon tell you.
All right, hang on. Stacey, let him make his point, then you can come back, I promise. Go on.
If they followed their true instinct, the children wouldn't exist. So how can they be parents?
Stacey?
Yes, they can be parents. Look, anyone can be a parent. Let me just say, right, if you're a lesbian, right, that's 2 mums, right? Women have got instincts for their children and look after children. Men, some of them, if they're gay, are feminine. And they still look after children. It doesn't matter if you're gay, lesbian, straight, bisexual, whatever, if you have a child, you love them. Children don't care who adopt or foster them. They just want a family and want to be loved.
And that's the key thing, isn't it, Simon? They just want to be loved and looked after. And if gay people want to adopt and they pass all of the criteria, then what's the problem?
Don't you think they'll have a weird view on life, a different view on life than you have?
What do you mean by a weird view on life?
Because when I look at my parents, they've been married for donkey's years. I want to emulate what they had.
But Simon, I've already given you the example that there are some parents who beat their children. There are some parents who sexually abuse their children. I've told you, my dad, I made peace with him at the end of his life. He was a terrible example of how to be a man and how to be a dad. So heterosexual couples get it wrong.
Can I just say some straight couples as well have actually been put in prison for what they've done to their children as well. And I've never seen a gay couple been put in prison for doing anything like that to a child.
Well, not many people like to admit this, but why are most men that interfere with children, the majority of them, are gay? Not to say that all gay people...
This is a point we kind of brushed over before. You are worried if a child is adopted by a gay couple that they might be abused.
Well, if you actually look at the statistics...
Yeah.
Women who have criminal... have abused children or teenagers. Most of them, women-wise, abuse boys.
Okay.
But most men who are paedophiles abuse boys.
I'm sorry, where have you got those statistics from, Simon? I'd like to look at them.
Well, it's a university in California.
Okay, well, then what? Just give me the name of this study so I can look at it. That says that. But what are you saying that most paedophiles are gay?
Well, you don't need to look at the study.
Oh, well, I'd like to see if you're going to give me statistics, and I've got to go to travel in a second. But if you've got statistics, I'd kind of like to know where you got it from, so I can back it up. Because with the greatest of respect, that sounds like complete and utter nonsense.
Look at the news articles that you hear about why all the women who in school they always abuse boys.
I only know one person. I'm going to say this very carefully. I only know one person who has confessed to me they were abused by their parents. It was a girl who was abused by her heterosexual dad.
Well, the statistics show that mostly...
Simon, I tell you what, Simon, stay there. I'm going to do the travel. See if you can find those statistics. It'd be good to have those. 03453 009956. It's BBC WM 95.6. Let's speak to Liz.
Thank you, Ian. It's looking rather soggy, I'm afraid, on the roads now around Birmingham and the Black Country, and that's rather slowed things up as well, particularly on the motorway routes. The M5 struggles southbound in the roadworks 4A to 5, the M42 to the Droitwich exit. It's already been rather slow in the roadworks south on the M6. They continue both ways, 13 to 10, and it's currently looking particularly congested around junctions 11 to 10 going south and northbound 11 to 12. So rather slow in either direction, not helped by the roadworks or the inclement weather conditions. The M42 is heavy going from junction 2 at Alvechurch heading towards the M5. The M40 struggles northbound from junction 15 at Longbridge Island towards the M42 at junction 3A. The M5 trying to get onto the M6 is also rather congested. The traffic lights now seem to be working on the A34 in the Hall Green area of Birmingham at the junction with Solihull Lane, but expect delays around the city centres, about a dozen road closures because of the Birmingham Pride Festival taking place in and around Hurst Street, and there's a parade which is getting underway in just under an hour's time. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
You've seen the video and heard the soundtrack. Now it's your turn. This Bank Holiday Monday, it's Brum Moves Day. We'll play your favourite Birmingham and Black Country bands and artists. Head to the BBC WM Facebook page and send us your requests.
Can I hear a drum?
Brum Moves Day, this Bank Holiday Monday on BBC WM 95.6.
I've just Googled it, Simon.
Hello.
And the first thing I've gone to is a psychology report that says the number of Americans who believe the myth that gay people are child molesters has declined. It's basically saying that it's not true.
You've probably looked at the wrong place.
Have I looked at the wrong place? Okay.
I think it's Rougen University in California, and
okay.
The researcher, the professor, is a woman called Mary something.
So if you're gay, you're more likely to be a paedophile than if you're straight.
That's what...
It's not, Simon, I'll tell you now, it ain't true. It is not true. It's simply not true. It's dangerous propaganda that is not true, that is hurtful and is based on nothing.
No, what I'm saying is it doesn't necessarily mean that if you're gay, you're more likely to... All gays are paedophiles, but as a comparison between men and women abuse boys to the rate of 80%, and men abuse. You would think men would abuse girls, but men abuse boys as well.
Okay, Simon, we're kind of wandering off into nonsense, really, and we'll move on. Simon, thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much, Stacey. Let's go to Gary in Solihull, who wants to talk about Ed Miliband. Morning, Gary. Gary, can you hear me? Can you feel me near you? Gary, can you see me? Can I help to hear you? Gary, there's only so much of the lyrics from Tommy I can sing. Are you there or not, Gary? For goodness sakes. 03453 009956. I'm not quite sure what happened to Gary there. We'll get him back at some point in the show. I want to speak to you as well if you're a vapist. You smoke one of those e-cigarettes. Oh, man, why are you guys so smug? And I do have a genuine problem with it. Yeah, OK. If you want to do it, I suppose so. But vapists say, I'm not hurting anybody. Yeah, you are. You're hurting my children. I'll tell you why. Because you are normalising the act of smoking. Yeah, you're normalising the act of smoking. And you're making smoking look cool again, because it's not just a silly white stick that you're puffing away on. It's like a cool kind of like glass thing with metal, and some of them look like Hubble Bubble pipes, and it looks a bit funky. And my boys are going to start saying, hey, Dad, what's that cool thing that weird-looking man's got in his mouth? It's making smoke and everything. So, yeah, you are damaging my children. You are having an impact on my children, which is not good at all. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you are a vapist. Tell me what on earth you get out of it. Alf's in Wednesbury. Morning, Alf.
Good morning.
Alf, you're not a vapist, are you?
No, I'm not a rapist. I can't remember what you do that.
No, not raping, vaping. Blimey, smoking e-cigarettes.
Same sort of thing. No, I packed that up donkeys years ago.
Good for you.
Too expensive. You roll a £5 note up and light it and see how many carry on smoking there.
Anyway, Alf, what have you called in about?
Anyway, what it is, all this labelling. Now, as gay and straight and all this sort of thing, what difference does it make? Basically, it's how they make love, how they have sex, and whatever. And this is all it seems to be about. You know, straight people, they can be so kinky as the rest.
Yes.
Sort of thing, you know. So why is it the obsession of gay people or whatever? They're normal people. Just treat them as people. They are people. They're human beings after all.
Yeah.
You know, why they have sex, that's up to them.
Yes.
So why is it...
You're right. Without going into any detail, some of what straight people get up to in the bedroom or the car or the woods is quite... It's frightening.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
Yeah, but we don't sort of label that as, you know, strange, you know. We don't label those because we don't know what to do. And we don't really know what gay people do, except they don't do it the conventional way.
Yes.
But does everybody do it the conventional way?
Well, Alf, let's end that there, because we do have young ears listening and we do have to tread very delicately. But there will be those listening who know exactly what you're talking about, sir, as they quickly lock away their leather and their whips. 03453 009956. Last 40 minutes of the show. It's kind of generally a free-for-all. Call in about anything we've spoken about or whatever you fancy. Peter's in Erdington. Morning, Peter.
Morning.
Peter, what would you like to say?
I think, personally, the gay couple who adopted them two kids, I take my hat off to them, because they're saying to the parent, look, I don't care what people are saying, especially, as I say, I take my hat off to them. If I knew where they'd live, I'd knock on the door and go, well done. And plus, that guy, Simon, or whatever his name was, he was winding me up so much, saying about gay people are doing this to kids and that. It's not like that. I think, personally, I've got a lesbian friend, and it's the most fun you can ever have, having a lesbian friend or a gay person as a friend. Because you can sit anywhere. Okay, I've sat in pubs with my lesbian friend, and women have walked in and said, oh, look at her. And, like, she's gone, oh, yeah, she's okay. But you could do that with a normal woman or your girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
it's a different subject. You're going to get your head ripped off, basically.
Well, of course you are. You should be. If you've got a girlfriend, you shouldn't be sitting there, however tempting it is, with any bloke or any woman going, look at her, she's fit. Whoa.
Yeah, but I've listened to this show. I'm new listening to WM and that.
It's a good station, isn't it? It's a good station.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I used to listen to Radio 1 and then
mate.
I've changed.
I'm so sorry for you.
I feel it. But with that fireman guy, he needs to get his head out the sand and smell the roses and go, oh, well, hang on. All these gay people aren't like this. The other point what I was going to make was...
Yeah.
3 years ago, I think it was, I was a trained first aider. Now, if I went up to someone and said to them, are you gay or are you straight? If they said, oh, I'm straight, I'd be like, okay, I'll treat you. I'll do whatever I need to do. If that person says, oh, I'm gay, or no, I'm not going to touch you, then I'll be up in court for discrimination. It is wrong. People need to look at the bigger picture and look at basically the people at the end of the day. It doesn't matter who you fall in love with. If you're happy with a man or a woman or whatever, it's one of the things.
Peter, thanks very much. I don't care what people... Hey, listen, what do you get up to in your bedroom? I couldn't care less. None of my business. None of my business. You know, as long as everyone's consenting, everyone's happy, and everyone's having a great time. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let it go. You fall in love with a bloke and you're a bloke. Well done. Isn't love nice? That's what we should be celebrating. Love. Shouldn't we? I did let Simon go on a little bit long about the gay paedophile link. I was hoping against hope he would take that tired old cliched myth and take it somewhere a little bit different and a bit new, and he didn't. And it, you know, it's gays are paedophile. Oh, for goodness sakes, really? Is that the best you can do? 03453 009956.
Darlaston,
Edgbaston,
Erdington,
Paisley, Gornal Wood. Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM 95.6.
Now, earlier this week, a survey of smokers in England found people who use electronic cigarettes are more likely to give up smoking successfully. Researchers found a fifth of the 6,000 people they questioned had used the devices. Well, there are calls for e-cigarettes to be made available on the NHS. But here's something, guys. You've not given up smoking. You're still smoking. Keith is in Dudley and has been using an e-cigarette for about a year. Morning, Keith.
Morning, Ian.
Keith, what made you go to e-cigarettes?
Well, it was my wife, really.
What did she say?
Well, she was having breathing problems. She had suffering from chronic bronchitis. I mean, she was a smoker herself.
Yeah.
And she moved on to e-cigarettes. She'd seen somebody else using one. And she decided to use one. I mean, I had no intention of giving up smoking myself. I'd been smoking roll-ups for years.
Oh, a lovely roll. I used to smoke roll-ups, Keith.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I love roll.
No
There's a skill in making a good rollie. But you saw that it was working for her, did you?
Yeah, I mean, she had one for a couple of weeks and asked me to try it. I tried it, and then within about a week, I found myself using the e-cigarette more than the roll-ups.
And so have you completely stopped smoking proper cigarettes now?
Oh, yeah.
And do you feel any different, Keith? Do you feel any better?
Oh, yeah, I feel a lot better.
Yeah. In what way?
Just healthier, different.
And are you spending the same amount of money?
Well, being honest, I'm probably spending more money.
Aha, really?
But it's turned more into a hobby now more than anything.
Wow, that's interesting you call it a hobby. Because you haven't given up cigarettes, though, have you, Keith? This is my thing. You've given up cigarettes. You haven't given up smoking. Because you're still smoking.
Yes, I have given up smoking.
But you're smoking an e-cigarette, so you're still smoking.
No, I'm not smoking, I'm vaping.
But calling it a different thing, it's the same thing. You are putting something to your mouth, you are inhaling, and you're getting a hit of nicotine. Does that not worry that you're still addicted?
No, it doesn't worry me because nicotine in itself is not harmful.
But addiction is not a good thing, is it?
As long as it's not harming anybody, then what's the problem?
It is having an impact on people around you, isn't it? Because it is normalising smoking again.
No, it's not. The evidence has proven that it's not normalising smoking.
Well, they've not been around long enough for that evidence to work. It has normalised it because, again, we're seeing people out on the street or at bus stops or in the office place or in restaurants or in concerts puffing away on these things, and it will only be a matter of time before my boys are old enough to go, "Hey, Dad, what's that? That looks really cool. Can I have one?"
Yes, but wouldn't you rather that than they dabble with traditional cigarettes?
I don't think it's an either-or situation. I would rather they didn't do either.
Well, kids are kids. They're going to dabble with things, aren't they?
They're going to dabble with things. Of course they're going to dabble with things. I'm waiting for the day my boys, get stoned and they come in with big glassy eyes and I go, aha, I know what you've been doing. But I don't... But I would rather that we lived in a society where addictive substances, such as nicotine, were frowned upon. And also, they make, like, cherry-flavoured ones and bubblegum-flavoured ones. Let's be honest, who's that aimed at?
Adults like bubblegum, adults like cherries.
Adults do like cherries, you're absolutely right. But it makes it easier, doesn't it, for younger people to try them and get addicted. It's all about making money. It's all of these cigarette companies and e-cigarette companies, they're all ultimately run by the same people. They're looking for a way to make more money. And as you said, Keith, you're paying more money, and you'll pay more money over a longer length of time because you'll live longer.
Yeah, but it's something that I enjoy. It's a hobby, as I said.
A hobby?
Yeah.
What hobby I would suggest is like, collecting stamps or, looking at birds and things like that. What do you go to a club and do this?
Yeah, I go to meetings. We have meets, regular meets, where we meet up with different vapors.
Blimey. Really? Do you
show
really?
off our different devices.
What's the fanciest device you've got?
I've got one that's called a Chi-U.
A Chi-U?
Yeah, which is like it's a copper colour that's all engraved.
Oh, wow. Wow. Keith, listen, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. It's Keith in Dudley. Been using the e-cigarette for about a year. They have meetings? E-cigarette meetings? Well, they hang out and they talk about flavours and show each other their different e-cigarettes. I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised. You've not given up smoking. You've given up smoking cigarettes, but you're still smoking. You're still addicted. And I don't want my boys to become addicted with it. Of course they'll try stuff. They're kids. Kids will experiment with amounts of booze. They'll experiment with cigarettes. A lot of them will experiment with drugs. That's going to happen, and I'm not looking forward to the days that it happens, but it will happen, and we'll deal with it then. But I don't want smoking, I don't want the act of putting an addictive substance into your body and inhaling to be normalised, to be a thing that we kind of accept. We made so much progress, didn't we? When we banned smoking, and it looked like smoking was on the way out, and then the boffins went, aha, we've got vaping. 03453 00 9956.
This Saturday from 2, we're at the Bankses with the England Under-19s. We'll preview the Champions League final with David Ginola, plus there's golf, cricket, Heineken Cup rugby and Peter Andre.
BBC WM
95.6.
Let's go to Gary. Gary's been waiting for ages. Gary, you want to talk about Ed Miliband, do you?
Hello, Ian. Yeah, that's right.
What do you want to say?
Well, a while back, I was having a debate in the Houses of Commons, and I'm not sure what it was about, but either Miliband called Cameron a donut and Cameron called Miliband a muppet, so does that say it all?
It does say a lot. Ed Miliband, I'm sure he's a nice bloke, but in this age where we look at the media, where we get news delivered to our telephones, he's not going to cut the mustard, is he?
No, they should bring back the Muppet Show, or because it'd make a good one, Spitting Image.
What's that? Is there a fairy in the background doing magic?
Why?
I can hear a little pring.
No.
What's that noise?
There's no noise. I can just hear an echo.
No, stay.
Well, you can
stay there. Don't.
Probably the rain.
No. The rain doesn't go pring. stay there. Be quiet. Let's just be quiet for a second.
No, nothing.
No, nothing yet. Hang on. Hang on. That! What was that?
It's just a meter thing making a noise.
What meter thing sounds like a fairy waving a wand? What is it? What is it making that noise?
It's a meter for a taxi.
Are you in a taxi?
Yeah.
And I've never been in a taxi. Hang on, let's wait again. It's going to come again.
No, it's just telling you when a message is being flagged.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay, Gary, thank you very much indeed. I've never heard such a thing. And why? Why was he so cagey about it? No, nothing here. Nothing here. No, that wasn't anything. I didn't hear anything. No fairies in here. No fairies in here. Why was he so cagey about? He's very reluctant to let me know what was going on. I'm suspicious. We've got a taxi driver calling in. Let's see if Alan knows what that is. I've never heard such a noise. It was a nice noise. It just struck me as odd that it was going off during that phone conversation. And then struck me... Alan, you're a taxi driver, it says on my screen.
Oh, yeah, and that noise that you was hearing,
yeah.
It must work for the same firm that I work for. Because when that noise was coming through, it was coming straight through onto my meter as well.
So you've got one as well?
Yeah.
What's it telling you? Where to go and get good coffee and donuts?
Unfortunately not.
Oh.
It just displays all the jobs.
There it is. Why was Gary so reluctant to tell me what it was? He really didn't want to let on the cabbie's secret, did he?
That's right. I think he works for the same firm as me. I've heard him on the show a few times, but I'm going to find out where he's ranking up.
Go, find out. He said ranking. Don't worry. Go and find out where he's ranking up and have a word. Alan, thank you very much indeed. Well, that's that mystery solved. Jan's in King's Heath. Morning, Jan.
Oh, hello, Jan.
You're Jan. I'm Ian. Well done.
Hello. No, that just really made me laugh so much.
That noise was one. Gary was very odd, wasn't he?
No, do you know what I think it is? I think they've secretly got gnomes in there with them. I think that's what it is.
We had chickens on windscreens last week, and now we've got gnomes in the back of cabs this week.
I reckon that's what it is.
There was a story in the papers this week about a black cab driver. He dropped off a family, and he's driving along, and he gets flagged down, so he pulls over, and someone gets in the car and says, "Excuse me, driver, you do know there's a 2-year-old girl in this car, don't you?" And the mum had left the 2-year-old in the back of the car. And so the fella had to drive back to where he dropped her off, and the mum's there going, "Oh my God, how could you leave a 2-year-old in the back of a car?"
Oh, no, anybody's mind can slip for a second.
It can slip for a bit, but to leave a 2-year-old in the back of a taxi, flipping it. Go on, Jan, what have you got? What would you like to say?
Well, I just love what you said earlier about it's just love that counts. That's the important thing. I think you're absolutely on the nail with that. And when my husband and I got together, which is about 4 years ago now, yes. In our late 50s, there was a woman I knew, and she said, it's a classic. How did she manage to get him when she's got mental health problems and a walking stick?
Because
I have bipolar disorder, which I manage amazingly well, and I'm an author, and I run community groups, Community Garden, and a writers group called Fun with a Pen, which meets in King's Heath once a month. I was waiting for a hip replacement, but what the hell? It's like you said, it's about love, isn't it?
Disgusting. Disgusting.
No.
We've got mental health patients with walking sticks getting
getting hit.
How do we ban this sick filth?
I know. You could tackle maybe one or two issues, but then you've got the deeper seated issues around disability. Oh my goodness me! And
disabled people with children. Well, the thing is, the children are going to see these disabilities, and they're going to want to be disabled themselves. That's what we've learnt this morning. It is odd, isn't it? Is it really hard to adopt and foster?
Yes, and in a way I'm quite glad that I got my diagnosis at the age of 50, because I never got into difficulties, some do,
Yeah.
with pregnancy and having children.
Yeah.
But I was just looking yesterday at the new Article 12, the European Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities.
Oh, yes.
Rather than disabled people. I much prefer people with disabilities because we're people first. We have equal rights and equal weight under the law, and we have the right to an intimate relationship. It's one of the things I picked up on. And it's wonderful. People just need to read it, I think. Or they could watch Brokeback Mountain, or they could watch Philadelphia if they like the movies, and just get some education about these things.
Jan, very well put. Thank you very much indeed. When I went to the States recently, I was surprised that disabled people with disabilities, are still referred to as handicapped. Handicapped. It's funny, isn't it? I mean, to me, I don't know what you're supposed to say these days. The language evolves, doesn't it? And that's what makes the language so wonderful. 03453 009956. Joyce is on the line. Morning, Joyce.
Hello, Ian. Good morning.
After speaking to that cabbie, I really fancy strong coffee and some donuts now.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I've just had a donut, so I should.
Did you have a traditional British donut with jam in, or did you have one of those Krispy Kreme donuts?
Krispy Kreme.
Oh, God.
So I've had my sugar fix.
Oh, man, those things are so bad for you, but just so good.
Well, you've got to have a bit of fun in your life.
My favourite one of those is the lemon meringue pie Krispy Kremes. Yes.
I'll have to try that one.
Yes.
Right, Ian, I don't know how to put this, and it's about Ed Miliband.
Yeah.
But if you're going to lead a party, you've got to be inspirational.
Yep.
You've got to be a great orator. If you look back over time, you look at the political figures, you would remember Martin Luther King, Churchill, because they were inspiring. But he's as inspiring as a wet trout to me. I'm actually yawning when he's talking to me.
What I'd like to say is that what we need to do is we need to do you want passion, you want power. It's like Obama.
You've got to convince me.
Obama he's turned out to be a bit of a wet squib, but what a speaker! What a speaker!
Orator.
Oh, he's wonderful. That's
amazing.
The word, yes.
But if you think back in, who can you remember politically? Great orators.
Well, Thatcher was great.
Yeah.
I thought Tony Blair was a great orator.
I don't know.
I thought he was. If you watched him in PMQs, he was quite good actually.
But I don't want to sound awful about the man, but I'm yawning all the time.
Yeah. They picked the wrong Miliband if they wanted to get into power.
Definitely, he'll have to go and get some lessons from somewhere. I think. How to speak, how to present himself with a bit of passion, because he's not convincing me.
But they all have lessons, all of them now, and this is the Nick Clegg effect. They all go and Nick Clegg did it a lot, which is why he did so well at the Last Generals. They go and have drama coaching, so they'll have drama teachers telling them how to project,
well, I think
how to sound passionate.
He'll have to have his money back.
Joyce, thank you very much indeed. They do. They all go. Wasn't there scandal's the wrong word? There was a furore recently when a bill came out. A bill was exposed that I think that Nick Clegg had spent a certain amount of money on a drama course, and he had a drama teacher, and he was taught how to. If it wasn't him, it was one of the others. They all do it. They're all taught how to speak, how to emote, how to sound like they care. They all have these lessons. Some, do better than others. Michael, you were on earlier. We lost you. You were calling in about the record booths.
Yes, you're a little bit off the topic now.
I know it's good. For those who weren't listening, I recently found a 6-inch black vinyl record that my mum and dad made in 1970, and it was in one of these record booths. And I don't really know a lot about them.
What I was going to say was one was featured in the film Brighton Rock. It's an Attenborough film that was made in the 40s.
Yes.
Lots of people have seen it on television, and it's really the main twist in the film. It's the end scene, and lots of people would know from that. These machines apparently were perhaps in amusement arcades and places like that.
And was it? Did it? I imagine it in my head. I've never seen one. I imagine it looked like a photo booth, and you'd go in and pull a curtain and put sixpence in or something.
That's
and,
right.
And you'd record a record.
That's correct.
Oh, I would so. Why? I know people don't have record players, but if somewhere were to install that, if a shopping centre were to install one of those,
it would. Well, they were, of course, in places where people frequented.
They would make a fortune.
Lots of people have seen Brighton Rock. I'm sure it's been on television loads of times.
Do you know? It's one of those films, Michael, I've missed.
Oh, you must see it. It's good.
I'll check it out. Michael, thank you for that. If the Bullring got one of these record booths, they would make a fortune. Because what a nice thing to give to your mum and dad, or to give to your grandparent. I made a record. How and it's scratchy, and it's beaten up, and it's wonderful. I'd love one. I'd have one in my garage. I'd put one in the garage. Go, kids. Should we go and fancy making a record? Oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Last 15 minutes of the show. David, stay there. 03453 009956. It's BBC WM 95.6. Let's get the travel now with Liz Saul.
Iain, thank you. The M5 going north has a lane shut. A vehicle has come to a halt on the Link Road to the M6 going north. It's really struggling around there anyway, not helped by the rather soggy weather conditions, but it's causing congestion back to 1 at West Bromwich as you try and get onto the M6 with the lane being closed. Southbound is rather busy in the roadworks on the M5, 4A to 5, the M42 to the Droitwich exit. In fact, northbound not looking much better. And the M6 itself, you'll find delays both ways between junctions 10 and 12. Southbound 11 to 10, northbound 11 to 12, and that's through the roadworks which continue both ways 13 to 10, so it's really struggling around there. The M40 from junction 15 at Longbridge Island trying to get onto the M42 is rather heavy going, and you'll find it snarled up again around the Burnt Tree traffic lights in Dudley, queuing on the A461 junction with the A4123. In Birmingham there's delays generally around the city centre, about a dozen road closures on and around Hurst Street because of the Birmingham Pride Festival taking place this weekend, today and tomorrow. The parade is getting underway in about 15 minutes, so there's some additional road closures along parts of the Queensway until about 2 o'clock with that parade going on, starting from Victoria Square. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
We're not one of those shows that, right, that's the end of that hour, we will not be talking about that anymore. It's kind of like a conversation you'd have in a pub. When you have a conversation with your mates, you don't go in with 3 questions, 1 for each hour. OK, gentlemen, it's 8 o'clock, so I'm going to ask you what you think about disabled parking bays.
Iain Lee. Saturdays, 9 till 12. BBC WM.
95.6.
0845... I'll give the old number, 03453 009956. Part of the reason I was giving the old number is because during that trail I was winding up producer Joe by making a very, very irritating noise. And it certainly put... I've not made an irritating noise for the last 3 hours, for goodness sakes. How rude. How rude. Let's go to David. David in Bartley Green. Morning, David.
Good morning.
David, what would you like to say, sir?
First of all, really good show. First time I've listened to it and tuned in.
Thank you.
And I've been really impressed. Yeah. So keep it going.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. The first point I wanted to go back to was the point about homosexuality and gay couples adopted and stuff like that. I believe that I think the guy called Simon.
Yes, that's right. Simon had some interesting views about gays and gay couples. Yes.
Yeah, he did. I felt kind of sorry for him in a way. I felt that, and I think that's kind of the overall kind of picture which I'm kind of observing over, say, the last 15, 20 years. The viewpoint on homosexuality, I suppose, has kind of changed. The slant on it has become more accepted. Whether that's for good or bad, I don't know. It's not for me to say, but I feel that if someone speaks out against it, it's frowned upon, and the kind of...
Well, it's frowned upon because it's bigotry, isn't it?
Well, if someone's speaking a view, and I think as long as it's respectful...
David, I hate black people. I don't think black people should be allowed to adopt. I don't like black people. How's that?
Well, if that's your point of view, that's your point of view.
But should you be? By the way, can I just say for those guys, thanks everyone who's clipped to that and is now using that as their ringtone. I don't hate black people. I love everybody. But should you be allowed to come on the radio? If someone phoned up and genuinely made that point about black people, they would be treated with the contempt and disgust that they deserve, because it's not acceptable on a public forum to come on and make bigoted... OK, what if someone came on and said, I think all black people are paedophiles? All black people are thieves and drug dealers and paedophiles.
Well,
you can't come on and say that.
You know what? I don't believe Simon did say that.
He said that if you were gay, you were more likely to be a paedophile.
But that's a point of view. He's not stating his opinion where to say that he hates homosexuality.
OK, all black people are drug dealers.
Well, at the end of the day, there's a kind of stereotype. Okay, I'm black myself. Yeah,
OK, yeah. Well, you're a drug dealer, and you shouldn't be allowed to adopt children because of it.
Well, I've heard these things, and these are things that I've had to live with and accept as other people's opinions.
But why should you?
No, let me get a chance to it. I mean, rightly or wrongly, that's the way the world is. That's the way people think. I mean,
but why should we accept that? Why shouldn't we strive to make it a better world where people who are bigoted and think bigoted, nasty, untrue things are pointed at and outed?
But the thing is that the only way to tackle ignorance is to have a truthful debate. And if people are going to be shy and withhold how they really feel about things, I can have an honest, truthful debate.
But you had a debate, and Simon came on and made his point, and it shone the light on the shadow of lies. That's a great line. Write that one down. We'll use that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it was a debate, and you both shared different points of view, like we can be doing now. We can be playing devil's advocate for the sake of it. Whatever, but in the end of the day, I think when we have a debate, I think you have to also remember to be respectful of each other.
No, I don't think you do. I don't think you do. I don't think I have to respect homophobes and racists.
Well, at the end of the day, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
And it's my opinion just to respect all people, respect all humans.
But then when you have a conversation with homophobes or you have a conversation with racists, then you respect them. I don't. I can't respect those views because to me they are so abhorrent and so not what I want my life to be about. I just find it hard that you would think it's acceptable to respect a racist.
No, I'm not saying it's to be respectful of the views. Obviously, the views that's their opinion, and opinions are based, I suppose, on the situation, the circumstances, how we live, where we live, all those kinds of things. But not to say that I hate that person, but I hate their ignorant attitude.
Okay.
And I think that kind of thing needs to be tackled.
Okay, so you're saying, tell me if I got this right. You're saying you can hate racism, but you wouldn't hate a racist.
Well, I think at the end of the day, if what becomes of hate?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, in the day, what they say, two wrongs don't make a right. Because if you come from a negative point of view, and you're gonna respond with that negative point of view of negativity, no negativity is going to come from it, isn't it?
David, thank you very much indeed. I have an anonymous email. Hello there, I'd like to make a contribution to your show, but I don't want my name read out if that's possible. I've been married for 40 years. I decided not to have children. When I tell people this, I get some nasty remarks. Some saying, why bother getting married? That chap who said gays don't have maternal instincts is wrong. Couples who don't have their own children have IVF or adopt, etc. He could say this is wrong too, which we all know it isn't. The choice is there for everyone to have or not to have, whichever fits in with your lifestyle. Thank you very much. For that, let's go. Jenny, stay there. Be with you in a second. Let's go to... oh, no, we just spoke to David, didn't we? Did someone drop off? Who dropped off? Jenny, we'll come to you. Well done, Jenny. You've managed to jump the queue. What would you like to say?
Hello. Just to give my point on the vapors.
Yes.
I've been a smoker. I managed to give it up 30 years ago.
Well done.
For 7 years.
Oh, dear.
And then I got divorced and started smoking again.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And my second husband was a smoker. I've always enjoyed smoking. Both my children, they're 36 and 32 now, They smoked, and then they read a book and stopped smoking.
Was it the Alan Carr book?
Yes, it was.
That's how I stopped. It's a great book.
That's right.
I don't understand why the NHS, instead of spending lots of money on the patches and chewing gum, why don't they give out copies of that book?
Exactly, yeah. But my son started smoking again because he's got a lot of stress in his life at the moment.
Yep.
But with the price of the cigarettes, the government has forced people to look at other options, and I think the vapors are very good.
But you're still addicted, though.
Well, yeah.
So you've just substituted one addiction for another.
Yes, but it's cheaper.
Well,
and
is that the only thing? It's cheaper. But you're gonna put more money into the e-cigarette companies' pockets because you will live for longer.
Well, they're only £2.50 a bottle.
Oh.
I've got a bottle of nicotine, of which I put 3 drops in.
Doesn't that sound horrible? A bottle of nicotine?
Yeah. And a bottle of Golden Virginia, and that only costs me £5 a week.
Blimey.
So it's a good alternative. Okay. And what I found,
yes.
My friend has, she's stopped smoking now for a year.
Yeah.
And you do puff at the vapours more to start off with.
Right.
And then after a while, you don't bother.
Jenny, thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956. I've got to move on because Noreen Khan's coming. Good morning, Noreen.
Hi, Ian.
Now, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Do we do the handshake thing? I mean, it's only for us, but we're going to
We can even do a selfie if you like.
Oh gosh, I'm too old for selfies. No one wants to see this ugly old face. What on earth is going on? You're here for the summer, are you now?
Well, just for 3 weeks for now.
3 weeks, lovely.
So for the next 3 Saturdays, I'm going to be sitting in from 12 to 2, and it's my very first show today.
Hey, fantastic. Don't be nervous. They're all
all
fruitcakes that you're talking to. I don't know if you've heard this morning. They're all absolutely bonkers.
I'm really looking forward, actually.
What's on the show today? What have you got?
We've got we're talking Birmingham Pride March, which kicks off as soon as I go live on air at 12 o'clock.
Lovely.
I'm also going to meet a student who's going to tell us why he's documenting his life with Asperger's syndrome.
Oh.
And later on, we've got a really cool reggae and hip hop artist coming in called Jota Trey, who's going to be coming in ahead of his performance tonight in Birmingham for Rebel Spirit, which is a very sort of funky, cool event which celebrates Birmingham's underground music scene.
Is he going to perform live? Make him perform live.
He's got the most amazing dreadlocks. They're
Really?
almost like down to his feet.
Oh, that's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. So that's 12 till 2, is it? I'm looking at the screen.
Yes,
That's all
I'm
the
on
times
from 12 till 2.
Well, Noreen, very nice to meet you.
You too.
Have lots of fun.
Thank you.
I'm sure it'll be good. I'm off to the Pride after this.
You are?
Well, I might pop down and say hello.
Maybe give us a call, see how you're getting on.
Show him how things are done. Noreen, nice to meet you. See you later
Cheers.
on. Have fun. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. Jane's on the line. Morning, Jane.
Morning.
Jane, are you going to pop down to the Pride later on?
No, I'm busy.
Oh, blimey. OK, fine. Never mind. What have you got for me?
You was on about the record booze.
Oh, yes.
Well, my sister made one. I think it was 1966.
Have you still got it?
She has, yeah.
Oh, great. Aren't they wonderful?
It's marvellous, yeah.
It's such a lovely souvenir of my dad. And my mum now, she's ill with MS. She doesn't speak very clearly.
Yeah.
And I can hear her speaking on
Lovely,
this.
isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, she's also got a reel-to-reel tape, which she had when
man.
she was 21. I mean, she's 67 now.
Oh, man.
And we've got our dad, I like Mum and Dad talking and singing on it, and it breaks your heart. It's lovely, but it breaks your heart to hear.
What a lovely reminder.
It's lovely, yeah.
The thing is, now, but I think... With people having cameras and video cameras on their phones, I think we have too much nostalgia. We have too many memories.
Yeah.
So they're kind of diminished. I don't know if I've got a recording of my grandparents, because my granddad on my mum's side used to have reel-to-reel cassettes, and I think they all got chucked away.
Yeah,
so I've got a little bit of cine footage and a little bit of cine footage of my mum and dad, and I think that kind of makes it more special.
I think so too, yeah.
Because we've got too much stuff at the moment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Jane, I appreciate your call.
Not a problem.
Thank you very much indeed. We've just got everything is documented now. So, I mean, how many pictures have I got on my phone? Something like 1,486 pictures on my phone. I'm never going to look at those. And we take too many pictures. We don't respect the photograph. In the old days, when you used to get the little cartridges that you put it into the back of a box brownie, what were they, 26, 32, something like that, 32 exposures, you'd send them off I'm so old. You put them in an envelope and send them off, and they come back a month later, and most of them would be rubbish. They would be rubbish, particularly if my mum had taken them. There'd always be a thumb in the way. My mum had a thing. She would push the camera, press the button, and she'd always push the camera down, so heads were chopped off. But nowadays, she's got hundreds of thousands of photos and loads of bits of film and loads of recordings and loads of everything. There's too much. There's too much stuff, is what I'm trying to say. Well, the show kind of slowly fizzled out at the end, didn't it? It petered out. No, fires. It just, sometimes it just does that. It runs out of steam. I think it's because I've run out of steam. I'm starving hungry now. I'm going to go and have a donut and a coffee somewhere. You come in, Producer Joe? Donut and a coffee? Let's go and get a donut and a coffee, shall we? Why the heck not? If you want to get in touch during the week, you're more than welcome to. You can go to, you can send me an email, ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. And it's spelt the proper way, OK? IAIN.LEE@bbc.co.uk. That's the Scottish heritage. If you've got a suggestion for a story or something you want to say, or you want to pick up on something that we've done on this show, then you're more than welcome to. And if it's any good, we'll have a little look at it and see if we can polish it up and turn it into something else. Thank you very much for all of your phone calls as well. It works better, doesn't it, if you phone in? The texts and the emails during the show, they're kind of OK, but a little bit of colour, a little bit of a phone call means we can have a Barney. And to me, that's what it's all about. Do follow me on Twitter, @IainLee. And if you do, you may get to hear a clip of last week's show. 130,000 hits on the internet from a tiny bit of last week's show. How weird. Right, that's it. That's your lot. I'm going to shut up. Noreen is up next. Until next week at 9 o'clock from me. Ta-ta.
With full commentary of every Warwickshire cricket game this summer, exclusively online, bbc.co.uk/WM.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
It's midday on BBC WM 95.6. Let's get the latest news now. Here's Nicole.
Aston Villa have sacked the assistant